Are we getting a third at all?
We are.
Coming, should we be grabbing a third?
He's already here. He's snuck in. He snuck in through the gift shop even.
Cube's not even playing Destiny. He's currently playing freaking gosh damn it,
Diablo. You didn't get the memo. This is now this week in Diablo. We've actually rebranded the show for the week. This is
he's not even playing Diablo. He's playing
the Diablo podcast
the
now?
Division. Yeah, that's right. The Division.
Hey, as long as the game starts with a D, the TWID still stands, so we're good.
The TWID still stands.
What's wrong with that?
What do you mean? What's wrong
this
with
week
that?
in Diablo, this week in Division, this week in Destiny. It's the same thing. So I have an important question about Diablo. Is there a cow level? And if not, why not? And who is responsible?
I don't know about the cow. I do know there's a pig level. With the pigmen? Yeah.
I'm know that. Cows, though.
I've heard somebody, one of the NPCs made mention about a legendary bovine area, but I don't know if it's actually in the game yet.
If it's not one of the
NPCs did make an Easter egg about it, so we'll see.
If it's not in the game, everyone should be fired. Everyone, just shut down the studio. True. You have failed as a company.
True.
If there's no secret cow level in Diablo, what are you doing with your lives?
Indeed. They just don't love us anymore, man. That's what it is.
I know. We're fishing in Destiny. We're hunting cows in Diablo. I don't know if there are any animals available to you in Division other than like birds flying through the city, getting out of the way. But
I don't even think there's birds.
There's a bird somewhere. There's always a bird.
See, so this is why you don't find me playing Diablo or Destiny right now, because all you dudes are doing is freaking going around trying to catch fish and milking cows. I'm sorry, I don't feel like playing Farmville, so yeah.
We do the exact same thing for Division.
Hey, we're just ramping up for the inevitable Stardew Valley.
You don't really have a leg to stand on in the site, but
say what? You both were talking at the same time.
Yeah, dirty.
Nitedemon can understand. Why can't you? Come on. You're stepping into the Nitedemon role with a smooth voice and the good opinions. This is what you have to bring to the party. You have to listen to us talk at the same time and understand both of them. I don't see why this is so hard.
Well, I mean, learning how to listen to Respawn on a regular basis is hard enough as it is, but to listen to him and then an accent on top of that, literally actually on top of that, it's just a little difficult. There's a learning curve. I need grace.
I feel like I'm being personally attacked here. I don't like this.
Well, I mean, hey, it's like taking an accent and then layering with you, and yeah, I mean, what else can I say? And I'm not saying you with an accent. I'm talking about an accent talking over you. Like, yeah, it's fun. That's all I can say. It's fun.
Everybody wins.
Welcome to Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast. Dedicated in bringing you all the latest information, news, and opinions. This is the best show for new and veteran Guardians alike, where we share tips, tricks, and tools to help you succeed and enjoy playing even more. So with all that said, let me hand you over to your hosts, the Triumph Hunting Titan Nitedemon, the pink-panted pansy Peroty, and your Hunter Master Ranger, Mr. No One Respawns in Real Life!
So I guess
winning is a strong word.
It is, but it's the word we're going to use because that's what we're doing. We're here winning. Because I have over here Respawn. No One Respawns in Real Life. The Hunter Master Ranger himself. Coming to us from the warm, sunny, gooey swamps of Florida. And I have no British man this week. No British man, no German man. Basically, we've just cut Europe entirely out of this equation. So
if you want, I can go ahead and take the piece. And what's the persuasion?
Yes, perfect. Love it.
What the hell did you just say?
We have the man, the myth, the legend, Micah himself. No longer the helicopter kitten. He's gone back to a stage tube. So maybe next week will be something different. But he's here to give us all the thoughts, opinions, and Division love, and to be the second Titan in the Two Titans and a Hunter moniker. And I am Peroty, who is back this week because, as we were saying before the show, one of us has to tend to Respawn. It's a custody agreement.
Wow.
We have Nitedemon and I. One of us have to be here just to make sure Respawn, is sort of on the rails and awake and alive and we have the 9 and the 1 dialed in, and we have the second one ready just in case.
And since I'm a nurse, I just make sure he's still breathing. Just make sure.
You're doing a real bad job at that.
Well, I mean, I hear you breathing. It's very poorly, but I hear you breathing.
Yeah. If he's talking, he's breathing. So therefore, you're good. See, we've assembled the fire team. Respawn. This is all for you. We're doing great. See, we're keeping you upright. We're keeping you with us.
That's not how that works. Yeah. If he's talking, he's not necessarily breathing, guys.
Well, I mean, the VA only wants me to be here to pronounce you. I mean, they don't want me to actually do any care.
True. I can't argue with that.
Sign the DNR early, huh?
Like, hey, we owe this dude over $10,000. Can you just make sure?
14,000. So pretty soon, 2 times in 100 is going to have a new hunter host because one of us is going to die.
One of us.
Yay, 3 Titans.
We're not going to name names,
sir. Absolutely not.
It just like I said, it's just gonna be 3. It's just gonna be 3 warlocks. We're actually gonna hang this up, get 3 warlocks, rebrand the whole show, and then we're good.
I mean, if True Vanguard has his way, yeah, that definitely will be the way it turns out.
Yeah, I saw. I've been very neglectful of YouTube this week, but I've seen him go on about his. Titans are so good, they're super cool, and yeah.
Oh my God, his arguments are so
we're going through that again.
And idiotic. I literally had a conniption.
It was sort of like the MacTix video of watching a guy who was like, I played Destiny for 9 years and this is why it's terrible. And he's like, dude, you've been playing for 9 years, so clearly it's not that terrible. Like, you can tell we're in that particular season of Destiny content when the creators are going, let's watch a video and like critique the video that somebody else made about the game. Like this is where we are right now. This is where we are in Destiny. It's even
worse than that because like now they're like critiquing other games for the same nonsense they do, right? Mm-hmm. Like when I saw him talking about how monster scaling is just boring and stupid, you shouldn't do that in video games because it's just lazy. I'm like, wait,
how else are you gonna have a challenge? Talking about
Diablo or Destiny? And I literally had to reread it a couple times to realize
Doom.
He was in fact talking about Diablo. I was like, that's the pot calling the kettle black, right?
That's kind of how you do things. You either get harder things or you get more things, or if you want to really mix it up, more harder things.
And there is no other solution for that. So it's like, shut up.
You make the things you're fighting harder, or you make yourself weaker, or putting handicaps on your ability to do damage. Like you got to scale damage somehow, or scale difficulty somehow.
Yeah, it's stupid. And tell me, honestly, this just it's kind of like in the True Vanguard area. Do you guys honestly believe that Destiny, a game about super space powers and guns, with 3 classes that are supposed to be completely different from each other, should be balanced?
Balanced in what regard? Like against each other in PV, like against each other in PvE and PvP, just like you open the game up and you say, well, here's 3 classes. It doesn't matter which one I choose because they're all, quote, balanced. It's basically the same experience across the board.
Well, you can't, but the thing is, you can't do that. It can't be the same experience. It can't be balanced because of the simple fact that the nature of the game is classes. Classes generally have things that they do better than the other or worse than the other. So their experience in certain atmospheres are going to be completely or wildly different from one another, making it unbalanced in different scenarios. So there is no way to ever achieve balance in a game like this without completely breaking it and making it into something that's literally just, okay, you have this character that has this skin and I have this character with this skin and they both do the exact same thing. There is no way to achieve balance in Destiny. So the fact that people are always complaining about this isn't balanced and this isn't balanced and helping with balance and stuff like that, it's annoying because you realize you're playing a 3 class, not even 7, 8, 9, 10, 3 classes, and then saying, oh, this should be balanced. It should be totally balanced. No, it shouldn't be, because that's literally the whole fantasy. Unbalanced. That's why you have 3 classes. Yeah,
that's why you have 3 classes, and that's why you have, Destiny early on, D1, it was like, oh, we're going to make this a competitive shooter and do tournaments. No, like this is not what this is. This is never what this is. Destiny is and was never going to be that. You're never, this is not the game where you say you can pick, the white guy, the black guy, the Asian guy, or the purple guy. It's the same thing. The character creation doesn't matter because it's the same character and it doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are different classes. Yeah, like, these are different classes. There are different abilities. Yes. It gets to the point where you can basically spec them into being able to do more or less the same things, but there's going to be differences. There's going to be some level of someone's going to do something better or worse depending on what it is, Yeah. Now, and sometimes even throughout Destiny, the character you expect to do the big tanky character class isn't always the best tanky character. I'm not saying Destiny does a great job living up to those fantasies, but like in theory is like, yes, there's you make a choice and go, here is sort of how I want to play this game. Here's a play style I want the fantasy I want to have. Let me play this character and lean into that. You can kind of do that with all three characters. We've gotten to that point now, but there's some things that just aren't available to the other characters. That's life. You want to be the sniper. Don't be the close quarter shotgunner.
No, be the hunter. Run around invisible and snipe from afar and stuff like that. Or be the warlock who shoots from 30 meters in the air where you don't even think to look, and bam, you're already dead. Be those guys. If you want to be the punchy class, you know what? Hey, don't complain about the punchy class when you're the one that literally running around with turrets and whatnot that auto shoot and aim and freeze everybody in the entire area. I mean, don't complain about broken stuff. You literally have auto aim bots roaming the map. So I don't know what. Yeah, I don't get it.
Now, when you say punchy class, do you mean the Titan punchy class, or do you mean the Hunter punchy class? Because because depending on the day, it could be one or the other or both.
Yeah, but it was always supposed to be Titan. It was all supposed to be Titan and only Titan. But I mean,
that's what we were sold, but that's not what we're always getting.
Our super's big to differ.
The super of I really need to walk up to you and give you a handshake.
Literally.
You okay over there, Respawn?
I think every time he coughs, he jerks his head back and then it yanks the microphone out and disconnects and he has to plug it back in. I don't know.
He's popping in and out of the Discord itself, so unless it's the Ethernet cable he's pulling in and out, which could also be the case. Respawn? Proof of life check?
Hold on, let me check. Let me be sure he's still alive.
We need to send the medics in.
VA pays me for. I think I feel a pulse. He's still breathing. I believe so.
Really enjoy these shows when I know Nightedemon's going to get this recording and go,
are you alive?
Deep breath. What have they done to me this week?
Discord kicked him out, telling him to change his username, and now it's not letting him talk at all. Praise be the gods of Discord. They have finally answered.
We are not professional streamers or anything else because this is clearly an amateur operation.
Clearly, if he doesn't even know how to work a mic after all these years of potting.
All right, well, while one host helps the other host troubleshoot basic internet connectivity, unfortunately, it's too bad he doesn't do this for a living or anything.
Right.
I guess while we're
for emergency services, nonetheless.
So you dial the 9 and the 1, and then the next one doesn't kick anywhere.
No, you press 9 and then 1, and then the 1 just stays stuck and doesn't ever raise back up for you to press it again. You're just slamming it, just like sticky fingers.
It has been a week. And it's been a week in Destiny. So while Respawn is trying to figure out how microphones work, bringing you peak content. We had a patch this week, which maybe fixed some things. We'll see. It was Destiny 2 update 7.1.0.2 that we got on the 13th of June, which was Tuesday of this week. Wow, it's somehow in the middle of June. Don't know how we got here, but here we are.
Yeah.
They fixed some things in the Crucible where the dazzling Iridescence Trials emblem could be awarded to any flawless card, as opposed to the flawless card where you didn't lose a single match, I think it was. So basically, if you went flawless, you got this emblem, and it was meant to be like you never lost a match or never lost a single round, whatever it was. But basically, they're saying if you have the emblem already, you will need to actually complete the actual requirements to get that emblem in order to equip it. So they're not going to take it away from you, but you can't equip it unless you actually do the requirements it was meant to be. So cool. Not something I'll ever see, so I'm not going to worry about it. They also fixed an issue where spawn trapping could occur on Meltdown, which what little bit of social media I looked at over the last weekend, I guess they were spawning. I think it was on Burnout. Now this says Meltdown, but like on Burnout, they were spawning both teams outside, so you could basically spawn in, turn to your right or left, and immediately start shooting at the other team, which is not how that was supposed to be at all. So things are going great.
Wow, that's
yeah. So raids and dungeons, they fixed an issue where players can damage bosses in Ghost of the Deep through the immunity shields. So no, they aren't. Not anymore. Anti-barrier now extends to the immunity shields. No longer immune. A bunch of armor fixes. The Gyrfalcon Reserve Overshield now deploys when a player uses Ensnaring Slam. Fiction issue where Kepri's Horn was breaking the entire game. It could disable various non-enemy objects. So Kepri's Horn's working again. Fixed an issue where the Vesper of Radius effects were triggering on things other than causing a rift. Other than casting a rift. These are all fixed an issues. Fixed an issue where the point contact cannon brace would create lightning strikes on melees other than Thunderclap. That's fun. Fixed the issue where becoming frozen would disable the Arbor Warden's exotic perk. Fixed an issue where the Arbor Warden could cause the Juggernaut aspect not to interact with your class energy ability correctly. Where the Sunbracers were not improving solar grenades. The Hellbow Saint 14 wasn't providing any effect at all. Verity's Brow wasn't functioning in PvP. The Nomad backup plans buffed to non-shotgun damage in certain situations, so it was buffing non-shotguns periodically in certain situations. Athras' Embrace buff icon just wasn't in the HUD in PvP, so when you got the buff, you had no way of knowing. And Amped Up and Electric Armor no longer have their perk name switched, so they actually do what they say they're going to do. So those are all the armor things they fixed. Also fixed an issue where the older Iron Banner special and power weapons had lost their scope glint. So if somebody was hard scoping you didn't know until you got that bullet through the face and said, "Oh, look, there's a man. He shot me." Good to know. Also fixed an issue where the Last Wish deep sight weapon from Hawthorne would unintentionally award bonus pattern progress on top of the progress provided by consuming the deep sight on the weapon itself. Increase the size of the red dot on the Mercurial Overreach's scope in response to player feedback. Reduce the collective action weapon perk damage against Guardians to 10% from 20%. They changed the Navigator's intrinsic trait icon. Cool. A couple abilities. They fixed it where certain thrown projectiles were able to overpenetrate allied Titan barricades. Good. Fun. Glad those are working. Good job with the shield, everyone. Fixed an issue where arc jolt damage to minor combatants was lower than intended following the scaling changes in the last patch, 7.10. So they should now scale properly. Fixed an issue where the Twitch sub-bounty emblem, Pulsar Approaching, is not requirable or equipable. So if you got that Twitch sub-bounty and you couldn't use it, you should be able to use it now. The second Reckoning Triumph now displays the correct weapon names. The Spend Salvage Keys Triumph now correctly progresses when a salvage key is spent instead of erroneously progressing the Spend Deep Dive keys, because keeping your key straight is important. It's a big old key ring. Have to keep them sorted. And they fixed an issue where the Ambitious Angler Triumph, where all players were getting credit for one player catching an exotic fish. So, have to catch your own exotic fish. Can't rely on the fish of your friends. And then finally, 2 changes. The weekly challenges for the Vanguard Ops and Gambit now reward the correct number of exotic engrams, which is many. And they re-enabled the Tier 1 exotic focusing on Master Rahul, which was broken and now is not broken. And those are all the things they fixed this week. One thing that is still a known issue is Respawned microphone. We have not yet received a fix for that to work again.
Bungie said that they will have that resolved come next patch. or next season, one or the other.
Yeah, they're well aware. They've passed it along to the team. Micah has passed Respawn's microphone issues along to the team, and they are working on a hot fix.
As we speak.
Fix. Or, some kind of fix.
Yep. They've disabled Respawn for the rest of the season for now until they can get it resolved.
Well, as we wait for Respawn to continue to fight with his microphone, will he win? Will he lose? It's hard to say.
I don't know. I think he gave up. He switched to Diablo.
Listen, as long as it's a D in this week in something, Diablo is perfectly acceptable.
Hey, Division counts.
Division, Diablo, Destiny. It's all something. Unfortunately, when we get to the Twim of Marathon, it ruins the illusion, but that's okay. There's Pride at Bungie this week again, or this month. Commemorates the Stonewall Riots, 1969. There is an emote and a transmat effect for Lovely Rainbows. If you want to get those, there's a article the Bungie posted. They also put the links in the TWAB itself, or TWID. I don't like it. It'll take a lot of getting used to. Into the TWID this week in Destiny. So your emote is TK7D3PFDF. And then your transmat is R9J79MJ6C. And if you're going, what did he say? We'll have links in the show notes, or just go to Bungie.net and look at the articles, and you can get those 2 codes. Then you can go to Bungie.net/redeem to redeem them, or don't redeem them. I'm not here to tell you what to do with yourself.
I'm just laughing because you called it transmat.
Is that not what it said? Am I bad at reading?
No, it's just funny. It's Pride and transmat.
Yep. It's been a week, and I'm going, am I reading the words right, or am I just falling all over myself? Or D, all of the above.
Why live in a world of either or?
Exactly. And there he goes again. Well, I tried to promise my wife this would be a short show this week, so that may come true. All right, well, I guess we'll move along with this glorious train wreck into This Week in Destiny for the 15th of June, 2023. Last week, I wasn't here. Respawn was here. Not that he could talk to you this week. But, we talked about the TWID, the TWAB becoming the TWID, and now we're all sad about the TWID because it's weird and we don't like it.
What? How did they change it to TWID?
Because it's This Week in Destiny now, since Marathon, since they have 2 things. When you go to Bungie.net, there's now 2 things there, Marathon and Destiny. So I guess we're getting a This Week in Destiny and This Week in Marathon at Bungie, because that was their only project. So I guess they figured, hey, this is all we're doing. Seems like they could have kept it all the same, and because it's still Bungie making it, but
I mean, This Week at Bungie sounds about right. I mean, they are still Bungie, so why? Yeah.
As far as we know, I guess at some point we're going to twim This Week in Marathon.
So we're going to get TWAM.
That becomes a thing. Possibly. Twim, something silly. There was a fashion contest that I didn't enter because I always forget about them. Your GM Nightfalls are starting this week, so you can do those again if you're so inclined. Supremacy came back to the Crucible. Somebody apologized to Callie the Corrupted. I didn't, but somebody did. And then they previewed the patch that we just went over in this show. So in this week, your Pride of Bungie 2023 recap and free emote that we just told you about. A nice little sandbox Q&A deep dive with some of the frequently asked burning questions. Basically, Bungie this week said, hey, give us your feedback on things. And that went about as well as you'd expect on Twitter. And they took some of the questions and actually wrote out some longer answers in the TWID. Yeah, don't like it. And so there's a big Q&A for that. Iron Banner is back next week with Eruption. Now, is it going to be Eruption all week? Or are they going to break it midway through the week with Capri's Horn again? And it's going to be something else. There's a bunch of your fashion contest picks for Down in the Drip. PlayStation Destiny crossover art roundup. Player support report. And the weekly art of the week and movie of the week. So that's what we have this week. And I'm sort of waffling here going, will Respawn fix this microphone? Will he be able to join us? It's hard to say. If not, Mike and I will drag you kicking and screaming through the TWID this week. Yeah.
Yay.
All right. Well, Pride at Bungie, Transit Bungie, say good morning. Say it back. We celebrated Pride and Transit Bungie this week. Can't wait to share what it means with our entire studio and players. Why does it matter? If you haven't checked out the full blog post yet, there's a link to it there at Bungie.net. We'll have it in the show notes as well. A little recap about why it's important. It's a celebration. It's family. It's remembrance of a history full of people that are willing to put everything on the line for the freedom of who they truly are. History like 1969 Stonewall riots that sparked the flame that rages even now as modern gay rights movement in the United States. History like same-sex marriage legalization efforts in countries like Spain, South Africa, Sweden, France, Austria, and so many more in the past 20 years. And to celebrate that, we have the emote and the transmit effect. So there we go. And now we've gotten to the breaking down some of our frequently asked questions sandbox edition. Let's see where this breakdown of some frequently asked questions sandbox edition takes us. So yeah, earlier this month, we took the old official D2 account on Twitter, or D2 team account on Twitter, and asked for feedback about anything having to do with abilities, build, crafting, weapons, and more. And they say you all didn't hesitate to share with us some of those thoughts been bouncing around in those noggins. And now we've got the team here with some answers. Here's some of the frequently asked questions that they saw. So before we dive in, this is a good time to remind folks this is an example of the type of content we'll look to feature in the standalone developer insight blog posts in the future. So I guess they're going to move some of this, to the feedback of actually having some, why do we do this FAQ? I don't know if it'll be FAQ style or question and answer style, but some of the, hey, why is this the way it is? They'll be putting those developer insight posts that they've done a couple of. So first off, we're going to talk about some abilities. So in PvE, ability uptime is very high and has increased despite global changes to base cooldowns. What are the current thoughts on the ability energy economy? And the gameplay team says, the ability energy economy is something we've always been evaluating and adjusting. With a massive number of sources that can gain and grant ability energy, it's always an area of concern. While we don't have any sweeping changes to announce today, this is a continued focus for us as Destiny's identity is fundamentally rooted in the space magic power fantasies. But we don't want ability uptime to balloon to the point where the power spike from active abilities ceases to become a spike and just becomes the norm. So this sounds like they're saying, we don't want power creep and ability creep, just have it, your ability be up 100% of the time. So it's no longer an ability, it just is.
Mm-hmm. But I'm sorry, the problem I have with this ongoing continued argument and fight with some people within the Destiny community is the game is literally a space, magic, and guns game. Why do people want the game to not be what it is? Like, if you want just a little bit of just something to do every, 10 or 15 minutes, play Call of Duty. Call down an airstrike every 5 minutes after you chain several kills. Like, stop trying to make Destiny into that game. Like, seriously, just enjoy the game.
Yeah, it's meant to be what it is. It's they say it in this. It's a space magic power fantasy, looter shooter RPG. It's a little bit of everything. Fishing simulator. It's never going to be a balanced thing. Like Bungie talks about power fantasies. Give us the power fantasy. I don't want power reality. Power reality is what I have today.
Exactly.
Give me the fantasy. Let me fight more things. Let me feel powerful. The Subclass 3.0 reworks were great for that. We've actually let you build into things and give you some synergy. I wish there were some better choices with, hey, here's what you're going to run and what you're always going to run, because that's sort of the best thing in the game. But that's kind of the nature of the beast. We're all, I won't say we're all, but many of us. That's why we're going to YouTube looking for builds, looking for synergy. And that's why the meta exists. We want to know what is the absolute, here's my building blocks. What's the absolute best thing I can build with this?
Yeah. How can I achieve the best power fantasy? And that's why literally everyone goes around saying, ooh, how can I make my character more balanced? No, they want to know, how can I make my character more of a bad, crazy, super magic space wielding gun throwing, that's what they want. That's what they want.
No one's in here going, how do I give my Titan mobility, or how do I up my intellect on my hunter? No one is doing that, because those are not things we care about. We care about the numbers that matter and nothing else. So give us more of that. Let us build into that. I know it becomes the same problem with having to balance the power creep. But you're the game designers. Like this is the nature of the beast. This is you run a game for 10 years. This is what you have to run up across. So this is your problem to solve.
You know what I truly honestly hope? I truly hope Marathon is everything that the super competitive Destiny players wanted Destiny or tried to make Destiny into. And they all switch over to Marathon and leave Destiny alone. That's kind of what I want secretly.
Yeah, that's sort of the rumblings. I think I saw ill physics this week. I can't remember now. It was sort of like it was like a screenshot of Twitter that somebody else posted somewhere else because Twitter is such a mess these days, and you can't like embed or anyway. But him basically saying like, "Hey, 18 months ago or so, when the 30th anniversary came out, basically, he screenshot. Bungie said like, here's what we're doing with PvP. Here's the investment we're going to make. Blah blah blah." And he's like, "So I set a reminder for 18 months from that point, give or take." And was basically like, let's see if this comes true. And he's like, it hasn't. The investment's not there. Whatever Bungie said they were going to do on the PvP side clearly is going into Marathon. They're making a PvP game. It sounds like in the extraction shooter, it's a PvP game. Period. Full stop. So you'd have to be nuts not to think that's where all of Bungie's top PvP talent has gone. That's at least in part why we've seen PvP sort of go, yeah, it's there. Sort of get the Gambit Light treatment. Yeah, it's in the game. We'll poke at it periodically, but it's not getting nearly the investment it used to. And now it sort of makes sense in a way of that's where the talent went to make this whole new PvP based shooter.
And that's great. So now all people that keep crying about balance in Destiny can have something to play. I'm all for it.
Yeah, because there's nothing else out there that you could play if you wanted to do PvP. Competitively,
no,
there's absolutely nothing available to you. It's really too bad. Someone should look
nothing
into
in the market. Nothing in the market whatsoever. It's a shame.
It seems like a real gaps. Yeah, someone should really focus on that. Maybe build something.
I mean, something that call to the duty within us to shoot other people in the back, or camp in corners, or all the other simple things that don't require powers.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe in a fortnight or so they could probably build something good like that. At least get a demo going.
Potentially, it's potentially that way you could experience what it's like to be in Apex.
Really could.
Predator, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I really think you could just take to the battlefield and you'd be able to live that power fantasy of being that sniper, CQC shooter, whatever you wanted to be. I feel like you could do that. Somewhere on a battlefield all throughout history, really.
Yeah, I mean, any war zone that you chose to, partake in, definitely would be adequate.
I believe. Even if you
it's not like we haven't had any games like that for the past 30 years, literally.
No, it seems like a whole new untapped market. Someone should really look into that.
Yeah, you know what? If I ever decide to get into game making, I'd go ahead and probably make one. I feel like it would be golden, and with guns. Golden and guns. Definitely. I feel like it would be the first of its kind.
Really feel like you have an eye for that.
I think I might.
Well, while we wait for someone to sit here to explore this purely untapped market, our next question is, with aspects, armor mods, and artifact perks that rely on players being able to throw or destroy created tangles, the cooldown can feel frustrating. What is the intent behind the tangle creation cooldown time, and are there any plans to revisit it? So Bungie says, during Strand development, we experimented with a slightly lower tangle creation cooldown time, and when it was too low, combat became extremely chaotic, with random explosions going off all over the battlefield. Which I mean, just sounds terrible. Who wants a random explosion?
Power fantasy.
That sounds horrible. I don't want explosions on my battlefield. No. And while they say they don't have any plans to go back to that level of uptime, but we agree that the competition around tangles can be frustrating. In Season 22, we're currently planning on reducing the cooldown time from 15 to 12 seconds. Ooh. So you give us the new thing, you make the new thing less fun, like immediately and then go, yeah, we'll make it more fun, but only a little bit. Like how long was stasis just completely suffocating everything else before they were like, take a look at stasis? It seems like they sort of learned their lesson with Strand a little bit, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that's a lesson I wanted them to learn of. This was really good. Let's make it a little less good. Guys, it's PvP. It's a power fantasy. Let me blow stuff up. You've made the enemies on Neomuna beefy. Let me do something with them with this new power fantasy you've given me. Don't go, yeah, we're gonna make that less fun for you. Any thoughts about Tangles?
No. I mean, let people have their tangles. Let them go ahead. They ain't ever hurt my feelings. I believe in everybody having fun and enjoying their game. Enjoy the power fantasy. That's what it's literally made for. Literally.
Exactly.
Why would you want anything else?
Let me throw my Tangles. Let me blow stuff up. The Broodweaver were intended to be the minion masters of Strand, but Threadlings can feel underwhelming in high-end content, especially with the potency of Suspend. Are there any plans to adjust the relationship going forward? And Bungie says, we're working on a two-pronged approach to this problem for Season 22. We agree it can be hard for Threadlings to feel valuable as combatant health increases in high-difficulty PvE content, but we also believe the Suspend is currently too strong in PvE. For Season 22, we're implementing a sizable increase in the Threadling damage against PvE targets and reducing the duration and uptime of the Suspend sources in PvE. In addition, we're making the change to the Broodweaver's newest Strand aspect, the Wanderer, to address community feedback regarding its potency.
Mm-hmm.
So again, Suspend is stupidly good, and now we're going to make it less stupidly good. Why?
Yeah.
It's PvE. If I want to go and suspend everything on a battlefield, let me. That's the enemy's problem if they can't get away from it.
Yeah, that's a good point. No disagreements on that or PvP.
Yeah, I did. Again, I really need to write things down when I hear them again, because someone was talking this week about, like, you know, what Bungie goes to nerf. It was probably Datto, I think, because Datto was doing one of his like reaction. It may have been reacting to this actually, basically saying, like, you know, when Bungie goes after things to nerf, they don't just nerf the popular things. They nerf the popular things and the easy to use things. That's why you see things that are stupidly good and you know, somewhat popular. But, like, you know, it takes some investment to make it, you know, to make it absolutely feel oppressive. And I feel like Suspend was an easy one. They're going, yeah, you're a Titan, you grab the new exotic, you slap that on, you suspend everything, you throw a grenade, you suspend more things, and you can just take a casual, leisurely stroll through the battlefield. And we don't want that. I'm like, well, then why did you build it? Like that's, you had to know, if you give us the power, that's how we're going to use the power.
Essentially. But apparently they didn't think that through. They just thought, like, you know, we'll just make this new power, and they just won't play it.
Yeah, well, we'll give this cool thing, we'll give this exotic to make it even better, but I'm sure nobody will use that, right? No one would ever think about such a thing.
No. That would be crazy. Numbers shouldn't be through the roof. It's fine.
No. So here's a great question. How does the team feel about the current suite of grenades? Happy? Sad? Mad? Angry? While we want all grenades to feel viable, some grenades are better in certain situations or modes than others. Yeah, great answer. We don't expect perfect equalization as a result. Thank you. But we do want to avoid situations where a single option is clearly the best across many different combat roles. So for Season 22, they're going to play with the uptime of underperforming grenade options. As we move forward, they'll continue, you know, the Bungie line of we'll continue to evaluate and look and adjust and blah, blah, blah. Again, there's some grenades that aren't worth using because they're no good. Like, well, yeah, like, they're never all going to be perfect, but you're kind of saying, but we want to equalize them. Or at least we want to, you know, hit the tall nails and then bring up the shorter nails. That analogy fell apart, but what do you think about this whole, we don't want to equalize it, but we kind of want to equalize it a little bit?
Well, it depends on what grenades we're talking about. I mean, you have some that are absolutely not worth using at all because they absolutely just dump the cooldown to almost 5 minutes per grenade. And then you have the ones that weren't really that good, and then they just made them take as long as much of everything else. There's only like 1 or 2 grenades that have a really, really short cooldown. And those grenades, unless they have an artifact mod for them, are absolutely garbage. So it all depends on what they're doing. Right now, they're just saying random things, and nothing is actually aimed at anything specifically. So we just have to see what they do. Yeah, but they've nerfed a lot of things already, except trip mines. But they've nerfed the storm grenade. They nerfed quite a few things. They nerfed pulse grenades and then buffed them again, and then it's been a lot.
Yeah, the skip grenades that were absolutely oppressive at one point with if Respawn were here, he'd tell me the Hunter Exotic that I can't think of, because that was just everywhere for a while. Yeah, I mean, but whatever you see that's super easy to use, that's super popular, that's what Bungie's going to hit. Like, there should be no surprises at this point when they do these balancing passes of, oh my god, why do they do that? How do they do that? Like, if you've been playing this game for any amount of time, you know exactly what they're going to go after.
Mm. Yep. And we're all waiting with bated breath to see.
Mm-hmm. Like maybe what they're going to do with hand cannons as we move on to weapon questions now.
No, hand cannons are in a very bad place. They're not meta, so we need to fix that. They need to be meta again for another 18 years.
They do. Can and will hand cannons get a buff? Not quite to Shadowkeep levels, but at least something? Asks all of the absolute diehard hand cannon users who have only had, 8 years of the 10 years of the game in the sun. Poor guys. It's rough out there for hand cannon mains.
Yeah, no, you can't snipe scouts anymore. Oh.
It's really too bad, So the weapons team says, the hand cannons have been touched several times in the past few years, as have lots of other things. Current PvE damage numbers mean that compared to pre-Shadowkeep, they currently deal about the same damage per crit and almost double the body damage. So reverting to Shadowkeep numbers would actually substantially nerf them for anyone who misses a crit, so they're not planning to do that. The overall balance of PvE has changed substantially over the past few years. Some weapons have suffered as a result. Yeah, so we agree. We Bungie agree, which is why hand cannons got an extra 20% damage in the Season 20 mid-season update. This didn't move the needle as much as we'd liked. Hand cannons still struggle to find a niche in PvE, maybe because they're not PvE weapons. Don't make them champion weapons. Their damage output is comparable to other weapon types, but the reload speed and smallish magazine makes it painful to run out of ammo. There's also some room to bump them up a little to move against minor enemies. But what if they did what they looked like and became a primary option for chunking down a tougher single enemy? So here's what they're currently playtesting for a future season, which they don't give a detail on what season, along with a quick preview of the specific hand cannons we feel languish the most. So they're looking to increase the reload speed stat by 15% at 0. So basically, if your reload stat is nothing, it'll be 15% faster. And as your stat goes up to 100, your benefit will remain unchanged. But basically, the lower your reload stat is, you'll get a little bit of a boost to the reload speed. This is a substantial benefit to hand cannons with a low reload stat, which now includes several aggressive and precision hand cannons. They're also for PvE damage, increasing your damage against minor red bars by 20% and against major orange bars by 75%. So again, really leaning into that, I can use you to sort of chunk down a big, beefy, single opponent. So I guess they're still going to be used for champion things. Boo. And they call out what they're calling now a heavy burst hand cannon. So changes to the Warden's Law legendary hand cannon will become the first member of a new subfamily, the heavy burst hand cannon. This fires 2-round bursts and overall is much more satisfying to use than the previous version, which is still benefiting from some of the unique properties of the original. So apparently Warden's Law is going to become a new subfamily whenever they put this patch out, and they're going to buff hand cannon damage against orange bars. So, cool?
If it's not an exotic hand cannon, what's the point? People aren't going to run around with their legendary hand cannon. There's nothing fun about that.
Yeah, it still feels like a really hard call to make of, I'm going to use this hand cannon to do a thing. Like I ran a couple Nightfalls last night for the first time this season with a hand cannon because I need it for the stupid champion damage, but it's like beyond that, I would never. that malfeasance just because it got a catalyst, and I was like, well, let's play with that because.
Well, see, that's malfeasance. It makes explosions. It's basically
exactly.
the
Yeah,
Jubilee of the X-Men right now.
Exactly. It does something more than I am just a hand cannon. So yeah, I mean, hand cannons always. I don't know why you'd ever run a hand cannon in PvE, like a non-exotic hand cannon. I don't know why you'd ever look at that and go, "Yep, that's the thing for me." I'm sure people out there somewhere, but
Volt shot, maybe.
Yeah.
Incandescent, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But I feel like any of those verbs, slap it on anything else. Looking at you, SMGs, scout
be even
rifles,
better.
It's like yeah, it's good, but yeah, if it was the only place to get that, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. It's like hand cannons. You guys live in PvP. That's your home. That's where you live. That's where you should stay. Except for submachine guns. Submachine guns are now the king. Sorry, hand cannons. Yeah, so the poor hand cannon PvE users will get some love at some point in a future season, somewhere along the line. Until then, they are what they are. So the question to Bungie: kinetic weapons seem to be falling behind as builds become more intricate. Are there any plans or ideas to make them more interesting and help integrate them into builds? Other than the kinetic, 20% damage boost they got recently? So, I don't know if they're falling behind, but Bungie says, we've noticed this. We've poked at this issue a little with the damage increase versus unshielded enemies and the kinetic tremors perk. But while we're prioritizing shipping more strand and stasis weapons in the kinetic slot to equalize these numbers a little and ensure that all slots can tie into build crafting, we're continuing to look at kinetics and have something planned on a year of the final shape timeline that may make them a little bit more unique. But maybe it's time for that kinetic subclass? Probably not. So, yeah, their answer is basically we're going to slap stasis and strand things into that slot versus the purely kinetic weapons. And no, you're not getting a kinetic subclass that people have talked about. I don't even know what that would look like. It's something purely, I think, that's Call of Duty. That's any other shooter. I want to use guns and not use my abilities or whatever. Go play another game. That's what that is.
Yeah. I hear they're bringing Mario Kart Racing back.
There we go. All right. How's the team feeling about the current state of glaives? Oh, I hear Respawn screaming all the way from his house right now because glaives were mentioned. What about the exotics? So we've got a bunch of substantial glade tuning. We have a substantial glade tuning pass coming in a future season. Currently, this is on season 23. Maybe it says or maybe it doesn't. Aiming to make them more satisfying to use, particularly in PvP. Oh, PvP got mentioned. Hey, they remembered it existed.
Oh, so they're going to buff glaives in PvP again?
Uh-huh. And they're also not happy with the current state of the class-specific exotic glaives, so they're making some major changes when we touch all of the glaives. This will likely take the form of adjusting how players activate the exotic perks along with some other changes.
Well, that'd be good, because I literally never even went after mine because it was just so crap.
Yeah, I think I have it, but I can't really say that I've used it. I know, again, I hear Respawn screaming from his house because I know he loves his glaive, but...
Yeah. And I love glaives, too, like in PvE and PvP. But you know what I really honestly think needs to be done? For glaives, in order to make them right, take them off of the projectile list, just like you did fusion rifles, and make them hit scan. Just make them hit scan, because the issue with glaives is that they just don't hit their targets. Even when you expect to make them faster and faster and faster, they just have a very hard time connecting to their target because it's a projectile. And if you miss that one shot, you're dead. Like there's no returning from a missed shot with a glaive. You're dead. You can no longer win that fight.
Yeah, it's like big risk, big reward, but then you have a stick in your hand, and that's not really the. Like honestly, glaives. Like I was excited when they were announced, but as I've used them, I'm going, yeah, this is fun to me with the syntheseps, but like I just don't. Again, and I know they have their place in high end content with a shield and stuff like that, but like I don't know. Like I sort of put them in the same bucket as trace rifles. Like they're fun to use in certain situations. But it's not something I ever reach for and go, yep, that's what I want. That's the thing I need right now.
But they are really good, though.
Yeah, they are.
Really good.
And they're going to be even better in PvP at some point. And Something
I'm looking
about
forward
changing how
to
the
it
designs work.
because I love myself a PvP glaive. It's heck of fun. Honestly, if you never got a good running build with a glaive in PvP, it is some of the most fun you can have. It's like it's better than a shotgun. Honestly, it is.
What are you running with the glaive these days? Synthesep still, or is there something better to use?
No.
Yeah.
In PvE, nothing. Because they absolutely murdered everything that was synergistic about it. To run with Void Titan. Yeah, you didn't really run it with Arc, but you ran a lot with Void, and they messed it up, like just completely ruined it. So it's not really anything in that front. In PvP, however, what's it called? Arc is the king for that because you get your overshield. You can run up on someone before they, completely destroy you, and you get a chance at a second shot if you miss the first shot because of the overshield, the Bastion shield. If you're running with what's it called? It's same as the fusion setup. What is it called? The sliding boots. I forgot the name. Antaeus Wards.
Antaeus Wards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Antaeus Wards gives you a guaranteed second chance to shoot with the glaive if you're sliding in. So slide glaving is a thing, and it's a heck of a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So
you're basically telling me the slide shotgun has evolved to the slide glaive.
Oh, yes. If you haven't tried it, do yourself a favor. That with the Kelgarath and with surrounded, the upgraded surrounded mod, one shot things around corners, and then you have your overshield, and you can get off maybe 2 people, and if you're lucky, you can get all 3. But it's a very fun play style.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I asked because I'm sure there's other people who are going. I've heard about this as a thing, but I've never tried it. So, yeah. So your Judgment of Kelgarath, the solar one, that you can craft and slap into it whatever you like surrounded. That would make sense. It's a nice little synergy for. I'm here next to you. I want to slide in and hit you with the stick.
Yep. Or you can go to the old, the old what is it? Impulse amplifier and the force one, the one that increases damage when you take damage. Yeah. Either one of those is good. But yeah, I like one-shotting things, so Kelgarath it is.
There you go. You seen anybody running the ACDC feedback fence with that, or is that not even worth it? So if you don't get the kill, if somebody melees you, then they get punished for it?
It can work, but it's not as efficient as something else. I've even sadly I wanted it to work with what is the Dune Marchers. I was hoping it would work with Dune Marchers, but it does not. So you don't get that synergy. Honestly, there's not much you can combine with it to make it really good, other than One-Eyed Mask, Antaeus Wards, and Dune Marchers is at the bottom of those lists of good synergy. It can work, but it's not the best thing.
Yeah, so something with a neutral benefit, not like glaive specific necessarily.
Yeah.
Loreley Splinters, when you get hit, then you drop your
good.
spot.
Yeah, that actually I forgot. Loreley Splinter is a good one.
Yeah, I'm just
it's not as good as it was, but it is very good.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if I don't get that kill, or if they dodge away or whatever, I don't quite manage to do it. What might give me a little bit of chance of surviving? Because I will not get the one-shot kill. I will somehow screw this up, like when I try to slide with shotguns and go, well, how can I maybe save this?
But the only problem with Loreley, it does not just absolutely make it work. It enhances it because the healing on Loreley is really low right now. So you don't get all the benefits that you used to get as quickly as you got them. So it's just not as good as it was. But it's still entertaining.
Yeah, might keep you alive or give you just enough health to maybe not get totally killed, but yeah.
And let you heal up quickly, which is good. Because at first you could have your shield when the shield was actually good. You could have your shield up and then you would heal through the damage they were trying to do while you had your shield up. Now you can't heal through that damage. So it's, not much room for escape with that one.
I was just thinking,
they rebuff Morley, maybe.
Yeah. I was just thinking, what are the Titan arms that were totally broken with the swords that were healing you when you weren't blocking? I was saying if they update those to work with glaives, that could be a lot of fun in the future. But anyway, they don't, and
that would be actually. But then they'd have to recode glaives as swords.
Yeah. I don't know.
I would love it. I would rock it. Absolutely.
I don't think I've ever touched that exotic except for when it was completely broken and you could just, I guess I should say now, the first time it was completely broken, you were just immortal running around with it. So,
if they hadn't nerfed the chainsaw sword, then I probably would have been running that. But yeah, still not.
Yeah, so much potential in our fantasies, Bungie, that you say no, that's a little bit too fantastical. We can't have that.
Yeah, we're apparently too imaginative for Bungie.
Yeah. So how do you determine what gets nerfed and what gets buffed? Do those parameters change season over season? Asks the community. Oh, Bungie. So just to comment on the persistent Bungie balances based on usage narrative, this is not the case. See below. But note that if something is wildly overused, in many cases that's because it's both strong and easy to use. Players typically won't flock to a specific weapon in droves if it's perfectly balanced. So that's where I was remembering data or whoever reading it from before. That's what Bungie said. That's what you had said. No one wants a perfectly balanced thing. No one wants a perfectly balanced weapon or a subclass or whatever. They want something that's good in how they want to use it. So Bungie goes on to say, when we're deciding what to do for a balance pass, we look at the 5 main sources of information to identify what we ought to look at. First is internal feedback from playtesting. Designers have about 10 hours of playtests a week. On our own experiences playing the live game, designers typically play the game heavily, and we carve out a little time each week to fire team up for raids and trials. So, basically, first source is 10 hours of playtests, and also just people going home and playing the game because they like the thing they built. Number 2, live feedback from sources like players and weapon usage. Typically, we look at usage by owners, so as not to miss what's going on with low ownership weapons. So again, not just the popular things. If something is, not, if it's a raid weapon or, a Trials Adapt weapon that not a lot of people overall have, they're still looking at those even if they're not available to everyone and, a scourge to the world. Number 3 is weapon effectiveness, kills per time equipped, win rate with a weapon equipped, so forth, looking at you, Immortal SMG, if everyone's using it, you're the big giant nail, you're going to get hit in the head. Number 4 is design analysis for implementation of a weapon, basically looking through the perks and other data to see if something is obviously wrong. Is a perk not working? Is a perk, we've seen a couple of changes in recent seasons of, this perk was, doing double damage, or this perk wasn't actually working at all, or, things like that. Basically, is there something wrong is there something wrong with the weapon? 5, having pulled together a list of weapons, we'll go through them and identify what's contributing to the issues. In some cases, it's innate to the weapon itself, and we'll adjust it. In other cases, it's because of a specific perk or perk combo, the overall weapon type rather than a single weapon, or lack of competition, and we can address the issue without touching the weapon in question. So, sometimes the weapon is just good, or sometimes you get a mod that makes the weapon incredible, or a perk or a combination of perks that just makes this the go-to weapon for the season. So they're saying, things like that, they don't have to touch the weapon for. They can let the season run its course or play with that interaction a little bit. And then finally, yes, some of the logic for the weapons gets attention changes depending on the focus of this. Some of the logic for which weapons get attention changes depending on the focus of the season. If we can have high representation of a weapon type in a seasonal artifact, we're shipping several or new reprised weapons of a specific type, or encounters that play well with specific weapons, we'll dig into the matching weapons to make sure they perform well with the seasonal focus from other teams. For example, in the past we've had several seasons that were resolved around high-density, close-range encounters, with matching artifact unlocks, and visited the tuning of submachine guns and grenade launchers. So yeah, depending what sort of the seasonal activity and the themes are, they'll look at weapons that play into that, or that they're going to give you synergy with from the seasonal artifact. So those are all the ways they look at weapons and change them and tune them and decide what to touch and when.
So here's the question. So should the immortal get nerfed, or should the perk that makes the immortal good get nerfed? I don't want either, honestly. But what should be done in that situation?
Yeah, that's
because the only thing that makes immortal really, really good is target lock.
Yeah, I have a fee. I don't know. I think of target lock. I have a feeling they're going to change the immortal itself, because target lock is good, but I don't think we're seeing target lock on anything else be super oppressive. It's not like any weapon that rolls with target lock is going to become the go-to. Like, oh my god, if you get this machine gun with target lock, that's now to channel respawn the new boss DPS king, and that's what everyone's going to use now. I have a couple of immortals. They're fine in my hands, but I am not the person who's meant to be using them. But I'm just looking at trials just for this week as we've started here on Saturday morning. 449,000 immortal adept kills. 6% of all the kills. Graviton Lance is a not even a close second at 248,000. So 200,000 less
for that.
And then the immortal itself is all the way down with 175,000 kills below a few other things.
Yeah, but there's a reason for that. We can't look at trial specific data and use that to judge completely on the effectiveness of the weapon. Mm-hmm. One, there's the factor that are there any good SMGs to use in the power slot? If you have a great SMG that is equivalent in power to a power slot weapon, or rather energy slot weapon, why not use that kinetic SMG over anything else? And especially if you're going to use an SMG, then you're going to be getting most of your kills with it, as opposed to running up trying to, shotgun people in the face. You're going to be using your SMG and using your shotgun to, help you out in a pinch. So your kills are going to be up with that SMG naturally, just because that's just the way that works. In addition, you're talking about PvP or particularly trials, it's a trials weapon. And tryhards are definitely going to want it because people said it's good. Now, if you take that same, the new SMG that just came out, and let that be the only SMG that has target lock, guess what? The numbers for target lock SMGs would be completely on that weapon. You would have so many people using that new solar target lock SMG because it's just the best one. The only difference between that and the Kinetic one from Trials is that it has a slightly boosted stat allotment, but it's not like the stat allotment is 10 more range, 15 more stability, and 25 more handling. No, it's +1 or +3. It's not even a major deal. If you look at a gun and say, "Oh, well, this has 2 more range than that weapon. This is the best weapon of the game." Oh, that is so not really the way that works. A person that's good can take on another person with a target lock SMG from the solar one or the kinetic one, and I promise you that it'll be even because it's not that big of a difference.
Yeah. So it's something it's the best in the slot at the moment. But like you said, it's not it's not an outlier. It's not the Recluse was in its heyday. It's not this weapon is so much better because it's just head and shoulders above. It's just
and it has a power boost with you getting a kill period. Doesn't matter what you get the kill with. And then on top of that, then you have the mountaintop. No. It's not oppressive like these things. So the need for a nerf for it just are over exaggerated. It's really popular because it was the first one that had target lock that actually was on a good SMG frame, an aggressive frame, which is now the best frame in the game because they nerfed precision frames. So now aggressions are shining, and they were shining before target lock. So now they have target lock, a free damage buff. Now they're shining even more. It's not that SMG. It's just the fact that you gave aggressives target lock. So that's it. That's all there is to it. And nobody wants to trade away their energy slot for an SMG necessarily, unless there's really just an exotic or something else in that kinetic slot that they really, really, really want to use. But 9 times out of 10, they don't. And that's just the way it is. Kinetic slots for your primary.
Yeah,
always has been.
and it's got the strand. It's a strand weapon, so it's got the strand synergy as well. You can run with it's sort of it almost sort of feels like the logical conclusion to what they've been doing with SMGs. They languish so long below everything, auto rifles, hand cannons. They've been bringing SMGs up and up and up. They gave a good SMG a good perk, moved it into a good spot, gave it synergy with the new subclass, and oh look, it's the best thing in the game right now. For PvP. PvE, yeah, it's fine. It's still not, I think, anyone's go-to. There's other SMGs. If you want to run an SMG, there's other things that fill that niche a lot better. But in PvP, and that was sort of my, other than just SMGs are good in PvP right now, and this is a really good SMG. Honestly, I wasn't sure, but yeah, beyond target lock, if there was something else about it making it the best thing. Like I said, I've got a couple of them. I am no PvP god. They're fine in my hands, but obviously they're very good in other people's hands. They have the adept versions and know how to use them better.
Yeah. Target lock, all it does is gives you a little bump in damage, which allows you to push out the range a little more, or be more forgiving in its proper range, way more forgiving, or achieve a very, very good TTK. Either way, you still have to be accurate while you're shooting it. So, and the only thing that makes SMGs good is that it activates target lock very quickly because of the rate of fire of the weapon. So that's really all it is. That's all it comes down to. And as long as your SMG has good stats and isn't crazy erratic and shooting all over the place, you can be accurate with it. So aggressive frames are actually very accurate right now. They tried to touch the Ikelos. Ikelos is still good. I don't know what they did. It's still good. I think it just doesn't have a damage.
I know they were. Yeah, I know. I think they were touching I think the zoom. They said it was out of line for the different zooms, and that was. I feel like that's what they touched, but I don't remember exactly either. Yeah, so I'm looking at the target lock perk, and basically the community insights here in Dim. Assuming no missed shots, it provides about a 25% damage buff on average after firing the entire magazine. So yeah, if you're playing PvP, if you've got target lock on an Immortal, you're hitting those shots. Yeah, you have a fast firing weapon with a 25% damage boost. Of course, it's gonna be good. Of course, it's the go-to.
And
that fires forever because you never run out of ammo for it. There is no ammo economy like in shotguns or glaives or certain sidearms, things like that. You can use it forever.
Yeah. And even if you nerf the zoom on it, honestly, these things, and this was my other complaint with how people try to say, oh, well, look at the overachieving weapons in Trials. You know why the overachieving weapon is the overachieving weapon in Trials? Because you have the really high tier tryhards that are all in Trials, and that's what they use. That's what they choose to use because that's the most popular thing. And they hear other people like Datto and all the other guys saying, this is the best. This weapon is 0.1% better than other weapons in its class, so you should be using this and only this. So all the tryhards use that. All the elitists use that. And so now, oh, well, I guess that must be good. So I guess everybody else needs to move it. So now it becomes a trickle-down effect of everybody using this weapon. If they nerfed it and brought the range down by 2 meters and people kept using it, what are you going to say then? Is it really the range that made it powerful, or is it just because of the way that our YouTubers are basically plugging and pushing all these weapons and saying that, oh, this is the meta? And honestly, YouTubers are driving the narrative. Because if you take a weapon that's been nerfed, say Ikelos, or even the old Trials SMG, the precision frame, forgot the name of it, the void one, and you put them back in PvP, they're still good. People aren't literally trying to range people with SMGs. They're trying to get in. They're trying to get into their good combat range, period, in general. So the outliers of the 3 or 4% of kills that occur outside of the natural ranges, those are outliers. And they don't change the overall performance majorly for the weapon to justify nerfs that have to be done.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you're talking
Shire's
about Tarba.
Wrath.
Yeah, Shire's Wrath.
Yeah, that was the Void Trials one from before.
Yeah.
And I'll say, Tarba is still good. Yeah, the Ikelos was really good. The Shire's Wrath was really good. It's again, they've been bringing, even the Callus Mini tool for a minute, they've been bringing SMGs up, so of course they're going to be good. Again, SMGs, they've been boosting them. Again, boosted with a good perk, yeah, it's going to be amazing. Especially with the meta of, with hand cannons, not the meta in PvP, I can get up close to you, I'm going to shotgun you, or I'm going to shoot you with an SMG, which is a way better utility than a shotgun where I've got a shot or two and then I have to go find ammo for it. I can shoot forever and run around. And there's plenty of exotics that work with SMGs in the game to make this even better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, I was just sort of, I know we've talked about Immortal and talked about PvP, but I figure since this is, the PvP chat now, just looking at this, just the rise of Immortal, and I'm sure there's people screaming going, no, it's this or that or the other thing. Like, they're good, but like, even I haven't played Trials in a couple weekends, but like, even when I was playing it, yeah, you saw a bunch of them, but like, it wasn't like the heyday of certain weapons where it's just, that's all you saw. That's the only thing you were seeing. It's one of a couple things, and I was actually just looking at the warmind.io, the Charlemagne bot, to try to get a meta of, because trials.report will give you what the trial sort of meta is and the weapon kills stats for the week. I was trying to see some things like what's Control or Iron Banner or something that there's at least some variation of player pool, and I don't know if it's the bot's broken, but it just returns nothing as a meta for the week for Iron Banner or PvP. So yeah, I'd be curious just to see. And Bungie, again, if I know you have all the numbers, it'd be nice to have some kind of just numbers on, like in Trials, like that's sort of the obvious thing to see. But like you said, it's a very small percentage of the player pool. Most people, if they're going to PvP casually at all, aren't going anywhere near Trials. They're not stepping foot into Trials. So yeah, of course that's going to be skewed toward the meta, toward what you need to win. What you're competing, and you're going to use what the best meta thing is. Or if you're so good with whatever your playstyle is, you're going to use that. So yeah, it's not going to be the same numbers as looking at Iron Banner, which is let me go play for free exotics and free pinnacle gear, or just let me step foot into Crucible at all. Let me go play my 3 control matches for my exotics and get out for the week.
Yep.
So next question for Bungie. Any further exotic tuning planned in the future? And what's the current thought process behind those planned changes? So they say, just to give some context on timelines, we've shipped Season 21, Season 22 is complete, and Season 23 is in full production, and the final shape is entering early production. So basically, next 2 seasons are done. And the final shape, they're starting to think about and work on. So anything they're going to be doing at this point, you're going to see in the final shape. It's not going to show up in Season 22 or 23 unless they stick it at the end. So just, I know people are always like, oh, this big thing happened. Why did they wait so long? Because they're not building the next season like when this one ends, guys. Like it has to be done way before. That's how development works. So they say we have a small set of changes to exotic weapons coming in Season 22 that they've been playtesting for the last few months, including the long-awaited PvP nerf to Le Monarch, a buff to the Touch of Malice, and a couple of minor changes to other exotics, and some tweaks to legendary perks such as Bipod, Shoot to Loot, Over-Under. Also bear in mind the Zoom to Damage Fall-Off normalization and Sword Guard rework are coming in Season 22, and affect exotic weapons as well. They'll be we pulled several well-tested changes from Season 22 into 21 into the 21 mid-season balance update, which we'll talk about shortly before it ships. So some things are going to ship even sooner than that, and they'll tell us sometime soon. We're making exotic catalysts for older exotic weapons in Season 22. This is one of the things that's been heavily requested, and is likely the most complex catalyst we've ever made. So something's getting a catalyst that should be fun, hopefully. The product of exotic tuning is looking at pain points surrounded over underperforming weapons. The process is... They listed this twice. Honestly, just looking at the 20 least used weapons, we poke at the list every season. So every season they say, what are the 20 least used exotics? And they poke at them and go, how can we make these viable? Or at least make someone pick them up. So thoughts on the Le Monarch buff that everyone's been screaming about?
Wait, buff or nerf?
I'm sorry, nerf. Nerf, yeah, sorry. The long-awaited nerf to Le Monarch. And the buff to Touch of Malice.
I don't like Le Monarch, but for the sake of consistency, saying that you shouldn't just go around nerfing everything that people enjoy and have fun with. I just don't believe that poisons and stuff like that should even be in the game, but it's the only thing that does that, and it's That's the only thing that people have a problem with because they can spec into healing and all stuff like that, and it will literally negate all their healing. Like it's kind of nutty. And on top of that, it does great damage. I think it should get one or the other. Either it has good poison and the damage is not as good, or it has good damage and the poison is significantly weak. Like it's just a little bonus added, except for PvE. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be good at both.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be.
Yeah, it should sort of be. What's the other poison hand cannon that I'm now drawing a total blank on?
Hand cannon? Oh, Thorn.
Thorn. Thank you. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, there's the other poison one. There's like, it was good because it was a hand cannon and because you got the tick damage, you can sort of track people. But it never. I don't know. I won't say never. I feel like it was Thorn in D1. I was gonna say in D1 it felt impressive.
Yeah, it's not oppressive in D2.
No,
it is what it is, but it's not oppressive.
Yeah, it was good for what it was, but it was never that level. I remember D1 where that was just the oppressive, hand cannons were in their prime. You had a hand cannon that did damage over time. Like it was all things to all people, like Immortal is now.
Yeah. But the Lemonarch, that thing will literally, you'll get one hit by it and you'll survive. And then you will literally bleed out from the tick damage, which should not be a thing. Like, it should not kill you. Like, period. The poison damage shouldn't kill you. It should get you low, maybe keep you low, but it should never be a case where I'm like, oh, I've got bled out by a freaking, like, by the Lemonarch. I got bled out. How the heck? That makes no sense. I spec'd into all my defense. I survived the headshot and all that stuff, and then I bled out around the corner. That's just too much. That's too much.
Is that one of those? Sorry, go ahead.
No. I'm just saying that's it.
Yeah, is that one of those things they should tweak to say like it'll take you down to 1 hit point or down to the verge of death, but won't actually kill you? Like, would that make any difference in I should say enough difference in PvP where like it'll bring you down to the verge of death, but the tick damage won't actually finish you off?
The verge, I mean, would that be enough? I don't know. But personally, and hey, I could be wrong about my opinion, but it's just my opinion. I think it just needs to go more so in the route of either the damage is high and the tick damage is just a little thing that just keeps you from healing. It doesn't really hurt you much. It just keeps you from healing, like it'll tick 1 damage per tick. Just to keep you from healing. That's the effect and the bonus of the weapon. It suppresses you, basically. You can't get back into the fight because it already chunked a bunch of your health, and now you can't heal because it's ticking you for 1 health and not allow you to proc your healing, so you have to stay hidden. So the weapon's oppressive, and that would be good. It shouldn't be high damage and high tick damage as well. So either give it high damage or give it high tick and make the damage weaker. One or the other.
Yeah, it's sort of the perfect example of it's easy to use and popular, and that's why it's getting hit. But also, yeah, I agree with you. It's the number of times like I've been hit by it, and I try to go run around a corner, take cover, something, and yeah, like you burn out unless you have a healing grenade, a barricade, something you can do to like give yourself a health boost. It's like, well, I'm dead. Like I'm dead. I'm a dead man walking. I just don't know it yet.
Yeah, because even burn damage doesn't bleed you out in Destiny. Burn damage gets you down low, and then it just leaves you there, doesn't it?
Honestly, I don't know. I feel like I've burned through enough things, but it's like, is it the burn damage or is it what actually killed me? Who knows? Yeah. There's times where I know, like, I feel like I've been running from Lemonarch, and like there's I know for a fact there's nothing else around me, and then I die, and that's what gets me. Can I say the same thing about burn damage? I don't know, because it's a little less. It's like you've been hit by Lemonarch, it. Like, you're aware. The burn damage is like, am I burning? Am I running? What's actually doing the damage? Did someone else hit me with something else? Hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's especially in a good player's hands. Like, I mean, I sort of respect people using bows in PvP anyway.
I'm not even a good player.
Decent players' hands. Yeah, there's every time I see one, I'm like, oh, it's one of those guys. Like the snipers, at least I know when snipers were in their prime, it's like if you're running a sniper, I know I'm going to be alive and then I'm going to be dead, and that's just how it is. Nothing I can do about it. You're going to find me some way, somehow, some angle that I'm not going to remember is there, and get me. The Monarch is like, oftentimes I know you hit me. We're engaging, we're fighting. I know you're going to get me. Am I going to get you first? Maybe. Are we going to trade? Probably.
Well, that's why I run Arc Titan, because I know that you're going to get off 1 or 2 shots. But that's why I have my Juggernaut shield and my Antaeus shield, so you burn both of those shots, and then you got to deal with me face to face. Because snipers, yeah, they can eat dust.
Yeah. Well, that should make everybody, I would say, happy, sad, but honestly, you hit one nail, another nail comes up. Like it's such a game of roulette. It's like, okay, well, you're not going to worry about Le Monarchs as much anymore. Now it'll be something different, or it'll still be the same thing it is currently.
They'll just switch to SMGs.
Yeah,
they'll just switch to SMGs.
Or whatever, in the mid-season balance pass, whatever gets picked up or whatever gets tuned and becomes the new best thing. That's this is just the. It's just Respawn always talks about, hey, what's the DPS king? What's the most damage I can do? What's the biggest boss damage? This is just the same thing. What's the best single thing I can use, or the best combination of things I can use in a certain activity? That's all the meta is just what's the best thing I can use. That's always changing because Bungie's always playing with it, and that's what we're going to find. To your point earlier, it's never going to be balanced. It's never like I can pick any weapon I want to go into trials. No, absolutely not. We're gonna find the best thing there is to find. So it's just a game of roulette of, okay, today's new thing is submachine guns. Tomorrow's new thing is sidearms. Whatever's good. That's what we're all running.
I loved it. Sidearms, that's my favorite. One of my favorite primary weapons in the game. Actually, no, it's probably my favorite primary weapon in the game. SMGs are nice, close second, but sidearms.
Yeah, the sidearm meta felt too quick. Like it felt like they was sort of here real quickly and then gone just as quickly.
Yeah, they were.
It wasn't sure it was my imagination, but
like, did we have that? Was that a thing? It totally was, and it was glorious.
Did you blink? Did you miss it? Yeah. Okay. Oh well, now we've gotten to our exotic armor and build crafting section of this Q&A. My favorite exotic armor could use a buff. Any plans to continue balancing legacy exotic armors? And the armor team is here to say there are many exotic armors we'd like to see get used more in the sandbox, and a few that still feel a little too strong. So they're going to do a balanced pass to exotic armors incrementally over time. The next batch is coming in Season 22. So yeah, if
I don't know what that means, and I don't like the sound of it.
It means the two things at the top of the list that everybody uses for everything. It's going to take a hit, and the Eternal Warrior and things like that, where you go, wait, that's in the game. Why is that in the game? Who remembers this being in the game? They're going to try to make somewhat viable, maybe.
That makes me curious. Then, what are the top 5 exotics used for each class?
I wish I could remember back. Well, I know they've given us numbers in the past for.
We don't have a resource we can pull to actually see that information
for PvP. I don't know if there's a meta. And this is where I wish there was more. Dear listeners, if there's a way to find this information, or if there's someone's Discord, someone's got a spreadsheet, tell us, because this would be useful information. Yeah, no, this is one of the things where I wish I just had a sense of because there's a weapon meta that the Charlemagne bot in Discord will give us. And we can get weapons and raids, weapons and crucible, weapons and all these things. But I don't know if there's an armor meta. Obviously there is, but I don't know if there's a way to get information on what are people using in terms of armor everywhere. Because that would be really useful to have, just knowing what are people running. Because it's obviously there's things I'm going to run if I'm doing this activity or that activity or this certain subclass with this synergy. There's I'm gonna slap Lorelei on with my solar subclass. I'm gonna slap my intense wards on if I want to slide into things. I'm gonna there's some my point contact can embrace. I'm gonna stick on if I want to thunderclap all the things, but yeah, like as far as pure numbers, it'd be nice to know. Because I don't know anywhere to find them. It'd be nice if there is a resource out there. I'm sure somebody's Discord's out there somewhere has all the numbers. The PvE podcast or Destiny Massive Breakdowns or one of the guys. I'm sure someone out there in a Discord has stuff like this, but I don't know where to find it. Which would be nice. I'm sort of looking now to see if there's anything I can track down on like Warmind or anything, but yeah, I'd be really curious to know the same thing. What are people running exotic wise? When Bungie says these are the worst performing exotics, which ones?
And the best performing ones, because Kepri Horn was definitely on that list, and then they just shut it down.
Yeah. Until it was breaking everything. Yeah, and that was one of the few synergies you could do across Strand and Solar that you didn't need the Solar subclass to get the benefit out of it. Especially with the suspend, it was so much fun to use, and then it was breaking Iron Banner and dungeons and everything in the game, which is a whole nother conversation. Yeah, because I remember they gave us numbers on. I can't remember if it was trials usage or PvP usage, like some number, I don't know, like weeks, months ago now, on like, what the most and least used, I think PvP ones were, but I don't think we've seen numbers on just like overall, or maybe there was a chart somewhere, but it was one of those Bungie, like, I don't know. I feel like they shared it once, but I don't remember how many weeks or months ago that was now. Yeah, it'd be nice to know just what those low performing ones are in Bungie's eyes. And what the high performing ones are, what I should maybe, look for alternatives to. Can you explain the recent Stompy changes? They can. And they're going to say Stompies provide a great neutral game benefit that excel in PvP and have the potential to make it very difficult to target a hunter wearing them, thanks to the unique nature of the hunter jump, which allows for rapid direction changes in midair. Our goal was to make them a little less free so the wearer can still gain their benefit, but with a small amount of downtime each time a player uses the dodge, which in itself provides numerous benefits since many armor mods key off the use of your class ability. That being said, they're going to continue to monitor Stompy performance and make future changes as necessary. Here's your Titan hot take on Stompies.
I'll rally on them reverting that change if they revert back our shoulder charge. But so long as they did that to our shoulder charge, that was actually, you guys kind of got off actually pretty easy, because really it should be like a 4-second cooldown between each, Stompy empowered jump based upon the way they did our shoulder charging. So
I'd just be happy if they'd fix the hit detection. I'd be good with that. You guys can Stompy all you like, just let me actually connect with things and do damage when I'm using my super or my shoulder charge, and have the hit detection work, and then we'll be good.
Oh gosh! If nothing else, just in super, I sent a clip to Respawn of me running around with the super, and there's this really stupid wonky thing where if you shoulder charge, like the detection and the range on the shoulder charge and super should be buffed massively. Because if you shoulder charge to a person that's slightly outside of the normal shoulder charge range, which is all you get when you're in super, it doesn't buff the shoulder charge range or its connection. It just makes it where it's more powerful. That's it. Yep. So if you whiff like you would, because you're in third person, you're not in first person. So measuring it isn't as easy as it is when you're in first person, which you normally do. So if you try to connect and it will stop right in front of them, if you try to shoulder charge again, it will whiff right past them. And then you'll try to redirect yourself because you only have so long before your super runs out. And you'll keep trying to reconnect and it'll whiff past the person who's you're right on top of. Like, I sent him a video where I was fighting someone. I killed 2 people and there was one person left. I shoulder charged to him. It went past him. I pulled back to go shoulder charge him again. It went past him again 3 or 4 times until the very end, and my super went out and I had to kill him with my regular guns. And I was like, what the heck? Because the hit detection was just absolutely asinine. But if you use say any other melee class like the arc staff, that crap's going to hit you no matter what. It doesn't matter. It will literally lunge you 30 feet into the air to hit you. Like the range and the detection on that is how it should be for a super. Arc, it's trash. It's just trash.
That is my one hope. That one day when I get a shoulder charge or melee, someone, yeah, because you're 100% right with the number. If I had the wherewithal, I could have put together a greatest hits collection of me standing in front of the enemy that I haven't quite shoulder charged or haven't quite gotten in the super, and just standing there going, "Hi, I'm going to stand here next to you. I just wanted to spook you a little bit, and now you're going to kill me immediately because I'm just standing here staring at you in the face." Yeah,
that wasn't meant to happen.
Yeah, like I used the Thunder Crash the other day in a Gambit match when I invaded, and all four of the opponents were around the bank. Should have been in range. Like, I'm not saying it should have been an army of one. I'm not saying I should have wiped everybody. I got 0 kills
because
out of that
jumped.
Thunder Crash, and I'm going, some number of, I'm not saying all of you were close enough because obviously it's a Thunder Crash. They saw me coming. But I'm like, I should have gotten 1 or 2 of you at the very least.
If it was a Nova Bomb, you would have got them all.
Exactly.
If it was a Slova Bomb, you would have got 2 out of 3.
Nova Bomb, Gathering Storm, anything else, any non-Titan exotic that you throw into an air, Blade Barrage, I would have gotten somebody with it.
Absolutely.
Unless I just completely went the wrong direction.
Dude.
Like,
at least got the team.
Yeah, at least 2 of them. Again, I'm not looking for all 4. Again, because I've done that with Nova Bomb, Slova Bomb. Like, you will get those kills. They will hunt you down.
Mm-hmm.
And
then they say this stupid thing like, oh, well, because they overperform in trials and people in trials love using it, we need to nerf it and bring it in line. No, the Thunder Crash is not even that good, dude. Like, it seriously isn't.
The fact that
you just made it worse.
The fact that it runs out. Like, I've got a clip that I sent to Respawn at one point of I invaded, I used a Thunder Crash, and it ran out before I got to the enemy team. And just, like Superman coming in for a landing, my Thunder Crash ended, and I, stopped, dropped down, and sort of walked up to the team going, "Hi, guys. Would you like some cookies?" And of course I got murdered immediately. Like, yeah. Like I understand the super can't go on forever, but I feel like from the invasion point to the bank, it would not be all that far for my Thunder Crash to work. Like, again, put a timer on it somewhere, give me a bar, give me something, but like, I'm not trying to go from one end of the map to the other. I'm not trying to, like back in the days of the old Fist of Havoc where I could chase you from one spawn to the other spawn and back again and still have my super up. I'm not asking for that. Just let me use this one-time super for what it's good for.
What would be good? I just thought of this. If they took, because I was thinking, like, the problem with it is, one, the range is very, very crap for a quick kill super. It's really kind of crap. Unless you're right on top of them, you can't really catch anybody off guard. And then they could jump or run away from it, which should not be the case with a super like that. It should not be so easy to do, which people are easily doing it. If not that, they're sniping you out of it. Or shotgunning and meleeing you out of it. What can you do if someone shotguns? Yeah, what can you do if someone shotgun melees you out of a super that only has a short amount of time you can fly through the air, and they can shotgun and melee you out of it? Who can shotgun and melee a Nova Bomb? Who can shotgun and melee a Blade Barrage? Like, what the heck? Anyway, I digress. That's not my point. My point is the explosion radius is too small. And 2, it moves too slowly to catch anyone off guard. Like, it just entirely moves too slowly. I get the idea if you want to be Superman, fly around, and then crash down on people. That's great, and I love it. It's a good concept. But the implementation is bad, especially when I have Ballistic Slam, which is the regular version of that super melee that is actually faster and more effective at reaching its target than my super. So what I think should be done, keep the Superman aspect where you can fly around for a little bit. But what happens is when you see where you want to go, you can do like the Ballistic Slam and say, okay, now launch there. And you just shoot like a rocket and slam into that one spot. You can keep them. You can keep the range of the explosion just like it is, but give me more control to slam into a spot rapidly and quickly to take out who I want to take out of with ballistic missile precision, which is exactly how a ballistic missile does. You fly around, you see where you want to go. Okay, that spot, and then you just boom, like a bullet, slam into that spot, and let that be the super. If they did that, perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we could spend the next 3 hours talking about how what super changes we'd like to see, and how if you're going to give me a super, I have to walk up to the enemy to use it. Walk up, fly up, whatever. I have to put myself into harm's way to use this thing. At least make it worth the risk. At least make it worth my investment.
Yeah.
So I did find Paul Tassie's article at Forbes from July 13th, 2022. We'll throw the link in the show notes if I remember sending to the Nitedemon. A list of Destiny's most used PvP exotics reveal quite a lot. I DM'd you the link as well. So Mijago Coding, who's the guy? I think he's the guy behind D2 Armor Picker. I want to say it's one of his projects. Yeah. He's the guy behind D2 Armor Picker and a number of other Destiny projects. Basically put together some visualizations of more than just trials data. I assume, from, does it say where the data comes from? I mean, because it says, out of 36,000 something results. So, it's not like it's everyone. Obviously, Destiny's or, Bungie's information will obviously be more complete because they have all the data and all the access. But, it seemed like, a big enough pool of data to at least have some idea. And again, this is from July, so about a year ago. So meta's changed, meta's shift. There have been balance passes since then, but at least in so about a year ago. Okay, most using armor exotics in PvP. So this is just like PvP numbers in general, not just trials. And again, this is a year ago, so take it with a grain of salt. It's not going to be valid for today because the stompies have gotten touched. At that point, hunters, which were 47.9% of the PvP population, so about half the PvP players at that point were hunters. Stompies, used by a quarter of them. Wormhusk Crown, 21%. Omnioculus, 16%. Yamant, and then it drops way off at that point. Those are basically your top three. Stompies, Wormhusk Crown, and Omnioculus were basically 25, 21, and 16%. And then the next seven were Young Amonkara's Spine at 6%, and then it goes down to the Frosties at 2%. So Dragon Shadow, Caliban's Hand, Arthur's Embrace, Foe Tracer, and Gemini Jester are round out the top 10. But the usage is so small, it's not worth talking about. It's basically Stompies, Wormhouse Crown, and Omnioculus. That's what hunters were using at that point. For warlocks, who are about, if hunters are about half of our population, warlocks and titans are about a quarter each. So warlocks slightly higher, 26.2% of the population. Ophidian Aspect, 55.6%. Is there any wonder why they were looking at Ophidian Aspect? Ophidian Aspect, 55% of warlocks in PvP using Ophidian Aspect. Number 2, Transversive Steps at 20%. And then everything else drops off like a cliff. So basically, you're using Ophidian Aspect or Transversive Steps and nothing else. The Stag, 3.7. And then, number 10 is the Necrotic Grips at 1%. So the Stag, Ozymancy Gloves, Rain of Fire, Starfire Protocol, Astrocyte Verse, no exotic at all, Getaway Artist, and Necrotic Grip are all 3% or less. So basically, you're using Ophidians or Transversives. That's it, period, full stop.
What are you talking about?
Hey, he made it.
Hey, you fixed your microphone.
No, I didn't.
You got a new microphone. You drove to the store, bought a new mic?
No.
He called in.
No, and no. No, so there's something called an RTC error, which a lot of people apparently have issues with on Discord, right? And there's all kinds of stuff to do to fix it. And I tried everything and nothing worked. I even updated my firmware on my motherboard, which crashed my computer for like 15 minutes until I fixed that, right? And so the last thing that they said to do is try a VPN. Put a VPN anywhere except where you are. So I put my VPN over in England, and that is the only way Discord will let me talk, is if I have a VPN other than America.
Well, we did need our English person here, so that works.
Yeah, but now the stream
There
is
you go.
losing like 50% of the packets because of freaking.
That's okay. The stream isn't important. So, yeah, so we're going through the TWID and talking about basically it's a big Bungie Q&A this week.
Yeah, I saw that.
About things. So we were just talking about a certain hunter boot that we won't name at the moment because we'll get your hot take here in a hot second. But
it didn't change. It's still the same way it was. They haven't changed it at all. It's still dumb. They reverted a nerf that should have never happened, and then changed it such that they only work whenever you have your dodge available. It is the most asinine way to use an exotic that I've ever seen. It's dumb.
Yeah. So
you can't dodge in the air, so whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mike and I were talking about didn't Bungie at some point give us numbers on exotic usage somewhere? And I was like, I don't think they ever given us like PvE or total game exotic usage, but they gave us some PvP exotic usage about a year ago. So I put the link in the show notes chat for you and Nitedemon for the show notes about, it's basically Paul Tassie's article pointing to the work that the guy from D2 Armor Picker, Mijago, had done on basically looking at PvP numbers. So we talked about the hunters and warlocks already. And then Titan, again, this is from a year ago. This is from basically last July is when these numbers were released. So, take that with the year of updates and changes that have happened. But Titans are, 25% of our PvP population. At that point, 27% of them are using Dude Marchers, 22% Lorelei Splendor, 10% Synthesemps, and then 9% One-Eyed Mask, and then top 10s rounded out by Peacekeepers, Peregrine Greaves, Titans Ramparts, Heart of Inmost Lace, Antaeus Wards, and Crest of Alpha Lupi. So again, nothing.
I didn't
nothing,
see the Crest of Alpha Lupi being a thing. Really?
Well, I mean,
it was an old trials weapon because it gives you healing.
Okay. I mean, that was at one. That's at 1.9% Crest of Alpha Lupi. So it was like not a lot of people, but so basically we were talking about
Warlocks took that spot.
Yeah. So I mean, we're basically talking about Warlocks. If you're running PvP, you're running Affinity Aspect or Transversive Steps at that point. There was nothing else. I mean, literally, no exotic made the top 10 list for Warlocks of what exotic do you run in PvP. To give you an idea.
So what did you make it in the TWAT so far?
We are down to exotic armor and build crafting. And can you explain the recent Stompy changes? So we just talked about the Stompy changes, and I finally found the link to the PvP numbers of exotics. So we were trying to remember what those were.
And everybody agreed that the nerf definitely needed.
Nobody agreed with that except Titans.
Well, I mean, this is 2 Titans and no Hunter. Well, up until just 2 seconds ago.
2 Titans in a hoodie. 2 Titans in a WebRTC error.
Basically.
2 Titans and a man who does networking for a living. Can't figure out his own networking. But really, that's how it goes.
There's nothing wrong with my network. It's a Discord thing,
Your real-time communications are neither real nor time, nor are they communicating.
So you can fix an emergency power line to make sure that we have, safety across our nation, but he can't fix a Discord channel.
It has nothing to do with me. It's not on my end. If I had access to Discord servers, I might be able to do something about it. But this is nothing to do with me,
Should have added that to your resume. That's all I'm saying. I think people want to know that.
So, Respawn, are there any plans for more exotic armor interactions with exotic weapons, like necrotic grips with the weapons of sorrow?
Yes, but they won't tell us. They just said, look for the future Hunters and Titans. Huzzah!
Yeah.
Yeah.
We feel the connection special, and it's hidden. We'd like to do more. Hooray! Yeah. Great answer, Bungie. Will we ever see any of the pre-Lightfall armor mods ever come back? Ever?
Nope. Not unless it's in a seasonal artifact.
I mean, it doesn't make sense too with the way they've done the system. Like, not really a need.
Because people were talking about well, what about the wells? I like the well mods. Well, the well mods have been incorporated into your subclasses.
We have the well mods. We have them. It's just they don't do everything for every class that they did before. Now, some of them provide healing, some of them provide ability energy, some of them provide other stuff. So we have them.
No, I love this political answer about the shaders, though. Is he goes, can we favorite shaders soon, please? And this political answer is, we're popping in to answer this. We're hesitant to talk too much about complex features that aren't far enough along to attach to a specific release, but are going to be sharing some new features in this vein real soon. So first of all, I had a stroke reading that, right? Second of all,
there've been a couple
they
of
didn't
those
answer anything.
Yeah, and they told us earlier above, basically everything's like done, or they're polishing up to the final shape. So it's like, will we get this before your 10th year of this game or no? Just give me a sign, Bungie. Do I need to continue to go to the 9th page of shaders to find the one I want, or can I one day put it somewhere closer to get to?
You have to wait till mobile.
It reminds me of a meme I saw this morning. It's got it's got the two guys like hanging. They're on the platform about to be hung by the neck, right? And one of them shows Bungie. And the title says, "Devs giving up on Bungie to work on new IP." And then it shows the Titanfall guy saying, "First time."
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. Oh god, I don't think they really care anymore. I mean, they care to a point, but I mean, they got what, 1, maybe 2 good seasons out of this. I think the final shape is the last season. Nitedemon seems to disagree, but honestly, I think that's it. Especially with their new IP coming along, I don't see them really putting a lot of effort into Destiny the way that they used to, and that says a lot because. Did they really put a lot of effort into it with all the bugs and everything that's been going on?
Well, I mean, yes. And we sort of touched on this earlier with all the PvP stuff. I mean, you're making a dedicated PvP shooter. That explains where all of your PvP talent has gone for the last couple of years. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I sort of point. And again, I mean, the game's always been buggy.
And they got the PvP intern to make the new map that nobody likes.
Right. I mean, honestly. Bungie and Destiny, from day one, like this game almost felt cursed from the from the point of, hey, we had a game and then we scrapped half of it and rewrote it, and that's why the story made no sense out of the gate and D1 for most of it. It's like it felt like this game was just cursed from the get go, and then here we are 9 years later, still moaning about it, but we're still also playing it. But I kind of point to like when they had to when they had to revert our progress the first time because things went so haywire. That's sort of where I sort of in my head put the line of that's sort of where things really took a turn for everything. Right. Now, I mean, and to be fair, they were also learning how to work in this game, in this sort of Destiny is sort of this weird sort of unicorn game of it's not really like anything else. It's been a live game for this long that they don't just take down, and it has all these different facets. I mean, Fortnite's been running for however many years, but they take the whole servers offline and they kill the whole thing. And yeah, there's a PvE side of it, but not really. Like it's there, but it's not like it's there's not anywhere near that much to do there. Like there's just not other games that are quite like the same thing. Yeah, there may be a campaign you run through, but it's not this constantly evolving world of quests and different play spaces and all this other stuff. And then they had to do all this. Working through COVID, working through a global pandemic, which no one was prepared for. So I mean, I'm not saying this to give Bungie a pass, but it's I mean things are not great.
Say wah.
Yeah, I mean, but the state of the game is not good. I mean, just and this isn't this sucks and this is bad and I don't like this. Trying to get through things, trying to get through people's flawless dungeon runs and getting kicked out of the game. Just trying to play, Crucible matches and getting kicked for an error message. I mean, the number of times the game's been down, the duration the game has been down. I mean, things are not in a great space right now. And is it because they're
getting a hunter cloak in the new dungeon is more difficult than getting the exotic? I've been through that dungeon so many times and I still have a hunter cloak, man. It's ridiculous.
Cowboy hat. All about the cowboy hat. Yeah. I mean, the game is just technically not in a good spot right now.
But see, okay, the one thing that I kind of have to disagree on, and for the most part, you're right? But with the building that you can do in the game, man, like Dude, with my hunter, I have so many things I love to do now. Like with arc being as strong as it is, I just run around, just start punching things, and like everything explodes. Right? I got lightning strikes coming from the sky, just deleting everything, and I'm healing in the process. That's amazing. We have the strand builds that are really, really good, that can basically infinitely levitate somebody. And now, with the introduction of the strand gun and its catalyst, I don't even have to use my grenade to make an anchor point, right? I can use the gun to make an anchor point and just continue to use that to kill all my ats, you know what I mean? Void Hunter, incredibly powerful, especially for ad clear. Just, you make so many orbs. Like, I'll go through a dungeon and I'll drop 250 orbs. And not a dungeon, but a dungeon too. A dungeon or a strike or whatever. I'll drop 250 orbs, and the closest person behind me is like 40. You know, I mean, just there's so many powerful things you can do in this game now. You can be so strong, right? And I think that that's great. On the other hand, they also do things to you to make your strength mean nothing. You know, like in the new dungeon, that witch, not even on hard mode, right? I haven't even done the new dungeon on hard mode, but just the regular witch, she will track you down. You hide, she will follow you. You cannot get a break from that barrage of arc BS that she keeps sending your way. And even when you go invis, it doesn't matter. She's still tracking you, hitting you with these stupid ass arc bolts, right? So, you know, it's not even hard mode, and you can't get away from her. She just kills you. You know, it's absurd. And then you have hard mode Ron, where if you don't shoot the purple spinning jizz as he makes it, it'll come after you and it will one shot you. You cannot survive. I've had people hit me with an overshield, and I've had somebody not only hit me with an overshield but hit me with the strand armor on top of the overshield, while having max resistance, while having 1 concussive dampener and 2 void resists. And I still get one shot.
I think there's a reason for that. I think it's a one-shot ability, maybe.
It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a white mechanic, you know?
Not a white mechanic. It's just a one-shot.
But it shouldn't be. If it's going to be a one-shot, it should not attract you aggressively. And when I say aggressive, I mean, I have seen it chase people around a corner and kill them. You know,
I mean, but it can be a one shot. Let me explain why. Because in lower tiers, like the spider tank, won't one shot you with his cannon, like on any level. I mean, but if you go to any hard mode activity, it ain't got no matter how much armor you got.
His
if he
cannon
hits you,
can't track you though, right? Like if you hide behind a corner, the cannon's
he's a regular enemy.
Go around the corner and kill you. You know,
he's not a boss.
Whatever. But the point is like, the build crafting, I enjoy in the game. I think the build crafting now is probably better than it's ever been, right? You can do some crazy wonky stuff in the game. But at the same time, the game itself, I don't think gives you enough opportunities to fully utilize your favorite builds. You know? Yeah. And then as soon as you get one, like the warlocks with their infinite nades, or, you know, hunters with our incredibly powerful 1-2 punch, the way it used to be. Bungie's like, you know what? I see you guys are really enjoying that and having a lot of fun, so we're going to take it away from you, right? It's nothing personal, but you know what? I tell you, we're going to take away your grenades, but we're going to give you a rocket launcher, which, hey, hear me out here, can double its magazine capacity. But it also does 40% less damage. So, you know, there's that.
Like, see you guys having fun over there. What you playing with? Huh?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, what's that thing you're using? That we're gonna make it less enjoyable to use.
Mm-hmm.
How fun is that? Like, oh, everybody agrees. Everybody likes it. They like this thing. Huh? Yeah.
See, like next season, like I'm with Mike on this. Like next season, they're gonna make changes to hand cannons, right? And especially things like the Warden's Law is going to be a whole ass new archetype of hand cannon, right? It's going to be like the what is it, super shot or super burst, something like that, hand cannons, right?
Heavy burst hand cannon.
Heavy burst hand cannons, right? So that and other changes coming to hand cannons next season, including a catalyst that apparently somebody's been talking a lot about.
They never said next season. They just said in a future season numbers may still change. So they haven't said next season, but
that's true.
At some point.
But in a coming season, right?
Yes,
So yes, hand cannon changes coming. And what that tells me is that's going to inadvertently buff Hunter's Lucky Pants, right? Because if these hand cannons are going to be getting these really good changes, you pair it with Hunter Lucky Pants, boom. You've just basically buffed Lucky Pants accidentally, right? So nothing got nerfed yet. Nothing's been nerfed, but they're making it so that, hey, all these hand cannons are going to be really, really good. And hunters are like, ooh, hand cannons. I've got an exotic for hand cannons. Whee! Right? So things like that are cool, bringing something up. But the fact that they have to bring something else down, I'm not a fan of,
Right.
I'm really not a fan of.
And that's the thing that I was... And that's the whole argument that I had with this new True Vanguard video that he made, talking about we should bring, and one of his last statements was, Arc Titans are performing so well, but Solar Titans were really good and they've been left in the dust. Mm-hmm. We should pound Arc Titans down to the bottom and bring Solar Titans up to the top. What the heck? Are you kidding me? Is that your way of fixing the game and helping the community so everybody can enjoy themselves by making something unplayable and then bringing something up in its place? What kind of freaking logic is that?
When I bring up Void for everybody who used to like Void used to be really good.
It doesn't even matter. I mean, because he wants to fast forward to the next season and make the same video, but swap Solar with whatever. Now Solar's no good. You should pound Solar. I mean, it's like, nerf this thing, make this thing better. Well, then you'll just complain about that thing.
It's like somebody complaining about a relationship, dude. It's like saying, "Oh, my relationship's so bad." Well, why? Well, he brings me flowers and he takes care of me, but he doesn't buy me, purses. Oh, okay. Well, tell you what, we're gonna make it where he buys you purses, but now he beats you. Oh, okay, great. So now I complain about beating. Oh, well, he beats me, and now, but at least he buys the purses. Okay, well, now he's broke, but he loves you. What kind of logic is this?
She's gone. No, sorry.
And that's what's going to happen with the community. You're going to keep changing things where people just going to you know what? I don't want to deal with it anymore. I'm going to leave. Because the dramatic changes you keep going from either one dramatic on one end to the other. Just make everything good.
And let people choose,
So just balance it is what you're saying? Just balance the game out?
Not even balance. I mean, because something's going to be broken no matter what, right?
I say with tongue firmly in cheek here at this point.
Yeah.
We've done the last 2 hours about how you can't balance this game. There is no balance.
Yeah. But at least, you can be unbalanced for every subclass, right? Hunters are unbalanced on Lucky Pants. Hunters are unbalanced on Strand. Titans are unbalanced on Arc and maybe Void in the future season. Warlocks are unbalanced on Arc and Solar, right? So I'm just like, make everything powerful and let people choose how to play the game, and why you gotta nerf it? I miss the not linear fuse rifle, the laser beam guns. What are those called? Trace rifles. I missed the first Void trace rifle we had that would turn people into basketballs. That was so much fun, dude. I used to use that all the time.
No,
they nerfed basketball damage. They nerfed the shield protection. And now it's unusable. Nobody uses it anymore.
Oh, no, people still use it. I still see it in PvP pretty often.
Trace rifles are in a good spot. That ability may have been nerfed, but trace rifles are in a good spot. I've seen that weapon all over.
Yeah, but I like that trace rifle because of that ability, dude.
Effigy. Yeah, and people use it. Ruinous Effigy. People, they use it. Yeah, it's not running rampant, but it is being used.
Yeah, it's still out there. It's still being used. Trace rifles are in a good spot, so that's therefore in a good spot with them. Yeah, it's not the same as it used to be, but it's still good. It's still out there for sure. I've seen running people. Every time I run the seasonal activity, there's somebody out there running it. I've seen it in PvP. It's out there. It's being used. It's in a good it's in an archetype of weapon that's it's hot right now. So yeah, it's not doing what its exoticness maybe is a little bit less, but it's still a good weapon type.
Yeah, but it's still not nowhere near as it used to be, man. With a Void Hunter,
Right,
you
agreed.
can just take that thing, grab a ball, pop a shield, kill a bunch of people, dunk it. I mean, you'd clear entire areas and just have fun with it. And I don't know, whatever.
Well, no. If it's clearing entire areas, that's a little bit too much.
Get out of here. No, it's not. No, it's not. No.
Give us the power fantasy. All we want is the fantasy of power. Give it to us.
That's it. Let me have fun with the game. Especially if you're going to abandon it, right? If you're going to abandon it for this other freaking game that you can have coming on, just leave stuff overpowered. Let us have our power fantasies.
Yeah. No disagreement.
Yeah, that's what I'm really curious about, because I know we're still a year out from the final shape and wherever this goes after that. Like, their last question is, are there any details or confirmations around the HUD or UI changes that were previously mentioned? They basically said, we'll tell you more about that in the final shape. So it's like, I really wonder, like, Bungie has said, like, made a point, this is the end of the Dark and Light saga. This is not the end of Destiny. But is it though? Like I almost wonder, like, I don't think they're like turn the servers off, once the final shape is finished or anything, but like, I wonder what happens to this. Do we get a D3? Does this go on autopilot for a minute? Like, I know we're still super early with what's this going to be. Is it at a point where going, you've run this game for 10 years. That means there's parts of this game that have been there for 10 years or longer. Like, they mentioned parts of some of these systems are like from Halo. Many years ago, Xbox 360 generations. Like, there comes a point where it doesn't just become untenable to say, we need to break this at some point and start fresh, or at least update things in a major way. I don't know. It's way too early to talk about it, but I'm I'd love to just know where we're going with this.
It looks like you guys already passed the part about the tease about a kinetic subclass. Did y'all discuss that at all?
Yeah, the fact that they said we're not doing one. Basically saying they basically said, about the kinetic weapons.
Makes no sense though.
Yeah, it's like what is a kinetic subclass? Because I heard people talking about that this week, and I'm like, that's what every other game is. Every other game is a kinetic subclass. Why would I want that?
I'm telling you,
I don't know what it would be. Like,
trying to make
would it be like the Force?
It would be Call of Duty. Okay, that's all it is. It would be you have no life.
Like physical grenades instead of pulling out like a void grenade. It's just a concussion grenade. Not concussion. It's just a frag grenade.
No,
what would kinetic subclass be?
Let me tell you, it would be you literally transforming into Amanda Holiday running around with a chaperone. Nobody wants that. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't see how that is like that though. Because
your abilities, because you are kinetic.
Your abilities. What would your abilities be, kinetic wise? The only thing I can think of is like the Force, right? Some physical force hitting you is the only thing that I can think of.
We already have 10,000 versions of Force hitting you, like. But
like, just no element attributed to it. Just energy.
Those are called humans.
Shoulder charges. Respawn, it would just be nothing but melees and shoulder charges.
Oh my god.
Shoulder charges.
Take it back. I don't want to live that life.
You basically be a ninja at that point.
Yeah. Go play freaking go play what's the name of that game? Where you're running around in Space Ninja. Just go play Warframe. You want a kinetic subclass? Just go play Warframe.
I've tried so hard to get into that, and I can't.
I did too. It's just too much going on.
Don't worry, Marathon's coming. It'll solve all your problems.
Well, that might be good for you guys, but I'm not. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how the game's going to be. Maybe this will be the first PUBG-ish game that I'll be into. I don't know, but I'm not happy about it.
We are all card-carrying members of the AARPVP. We're not playing any of this stuff competitively, unless there's an over 40 division where we can go to the PvP retirement home and play in that, and not with the young kids with their reflexes.
We're all going to jump in. All right, Micah, I'm going to go around this side of the building. You jump through that window, and we're all dead. What happened?
And you're going to look Micah across the map over there meleeing people.
Exactly. And we've been team wiped. Okay, well, that was fun.
That's right. How do we team wipe? Oh, there's a guy on the other side of the map with a sniper. I see. Okay. That's fun.
I was going to go punch him.
No, you're the guy running around with the frying pan.
There we go.
Okay.
That's his
frying
only
pan
weapon.
has aim, dude. That frying pan
But
has aim.
Destiny's gonna have a frying pan with like an extended handle, right? It's gonna have like a coating on it that reflects bullets back at the sender or whatever. Just some ridiculous upgrades for the frying pan. And then when you get really good, you dual wield the frying pan.
Frying pan and a wooden spoon. There's your Kinetic subclass.
Hook a battery to it. Now it's electrified. It's a taser frying pan.
I see no reason why not. Honestly,
I don't disagree with you, friend. All right. I think I'm getting close to that. How close are we to the end?
We're pretty close to the end. This is where I should say this is where we commemorate now the second episode of this season, where Iron Banner is next, and we are without our very own Iron Lord. I think Nitedemon is just purposely avoiding us these weeks when Iron Banner is next.
What do you mean? It's both of you. Y'all take turns being gone. Like I haven't had you both here in a minute. Well, I had you both here last week, but like other than that, it's one or the other. It's like what is going on with you two?
I wasn't here last week. If you thought I was here last week, then you're Micah. I think you need to adjust the meds. If he thought I was here last week, then he's got some bigger problems.
Yeah,
I think this also goes along with
that's never been in question.
It's just that you guys have always gone and he's always abandoned with only one dad. He wants two dads, okay? He wants two dads like any normal nuclear family.
I don't know about the two dads thing, but definitely the crazy uncle and the father figure might be nice. You know,
we do what we can, and sometimes we do it for Saladin and that sweet, sweet emblem. And for once, they are correct. That is an excellent emblem. This wolf looking at you with the angry eyes.
I do love that. Don't you already have that one, Micah?
Oh yes, that's all I use.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I go between that one and the blue screen of death emblem because I'm sorry, the blue screen of death emblem is the one true emblem. I can delete the rest of them, except maybe for this one. This one's really good. Like the Iron Banner ones have always been fine, but this angry wolf and the flames and the hammer. Oh, this is it.
9 years of Destiny, and they've never given us a good dragon emblem. You know,
final shape.
Dragons are in the game. We have a lot of things named after Dragon Shadow. You have a whole raid that's shaped around, dragon shapes. The Last Wish, dragons, birds, and snakes, right? But they've never given us a really good dragon emblem. Like instead of the wolf eyes, if that was a scaly face and maybe like a dragon beak, that would be awesome, right? But why dragons get no love? How come dragons get no loving?
Because they live in dungeons. You have to go to the dungeons to find the dragons.
But I want a dragon emblem, my dude.
Well, one day. Maybe the final shape will be a dragon.
No, that would be awesome. And even Saladin, whenever he was fighting one of the last Ahamkaras, you know how they make a wish? He wished to be a dragon, and it was who was with him?
Valis Forge.
I think so. I think you might be right. And they're like, why would you wish for a dragon? And he goes, haven't you always wanted to be a knight who fights a dragon? Right? I mean, like, dragons are present in the game, in the lore and all kinds of stuff, but we don't have anything dragon-esque in the game to represent that. Now, people are going to be like, well, this symbol kind of looks like a dragon. I don't want it to kind of look like a dragon. Yeah. I want it to be unmistakably dragon-like, and I want it to be cool, not just like a black freaking stencil pasted on a blue background. That's not cool, Whatever. I digress. Continue on, Peroty. I'm being cranky.
Well, first off, Valis Forge, remember when Saladin was Valis Forge for about 3 seconds? And then he wasn't anymore. So I'm like, are we just done with this now? Like, he's Valis Forge is the thing. No, just kidding. Yeah, I mean, I think the closest to the dragon is the ramen emblem. Like that has sort of the neon dragon.
Yeah.
Also our logo, neon dragon. So clearly, we just need to get our show logo into the game as an emblem, and then there we go. Problem solved. Fixed it.
All our issues.
Yeah, exactly. See, Iron Banner back next week. You can earn a beautiful emblem if you haven't already. If you haven't already, you should go earn it. It's beautiful. You want it. It's lovely. It's going to be Eruption this time around. presumably for the whole week, assuming that no Titan exotics break the game hilariously to the point where it can't be played. So that's the one where you run around and you build up a surge, and then you have to keep killing people or you explode as if you've been hit by a Monarch out of nowhere. So
I'll play that. And I have no idea how I got the surge where I've been exploded. I'm like, there's no way I've got that many kills that I'm now lit.
Yep, exactly. And it's still not entirely like, unless you're looking at that little HUD going, hey, you're searching now. Like, I wish they made it a lot more obvious to you when you're like, hey, you should stop running away. You should go kill something or you're going to explode. And something so that also seems to answer the question of last week was Control for most of the week and then a little bit of Eruption. This week will be Eruption. So I'm assuming we're going to get the third mode for the third week where the turrets drop in the middle that I can't. Fortress?
Sorry, turrets drop? What? Oh, turrets. Oh, turrets. I thought you said turrets drop.
The Cabals drop on you, and then you have to fight the turrets because of the syndrome, and it's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. We're doing great. This is just chef's kiss. This is the show for the ages. See, when Dad's away,
you know where the turrets drop. Come on, I know you played it before. It's a PvP mode. You know what I'm talking about? Really?
Turrets drop.
And I figured this seems like a good time to have Nitedemon drop in what's also happening next week in Destiny, because of course we're like 3 hours in and I completely forgot to even mention that. Maybe he drops in them before, maybe he does. It's a surprise. You have to listen and find out.
Hello and welcome to the 5th week of Season 21, Season of the Deep, starting on June 20th, 2023. So for week 5, let's kick things off with our legacy rotation, starting with the Forsaken expansion.
Ready if you are. Let's see what's out there.
The Dreaming City this week is at a weak curse level, which means Petrovenge can be found in the Strand, and has the Broken Courier mission for the next week. The Blind Well features Scorn enemies and the Plagues, Sicarus and Veracruz. The Ascendant challenge this week will be the Agonon's Abyss, which can be located over in the Bay of Drowned Wishes Lost sector on the Dreaming City. Next up, the Shadowkeep expansion. On the Moon, the weekly story mission is Beyond. The Trove Guardian is located in Archer's Line, while the Wandering Nightmare is the Nightmare of Jax, Claws of Zevra Wrath at the Hellmouth. And the Nightmare hunts this week will be Skolas, Pride, Omnigul, Anguish, and Zydron, Servitude. For our Beyond Light expansion, on Europa this week, Credis, the Dark Priestess, will be the Empire Hunt, Eventide Ruins will be the Eclipse Zone, and the Exo Challenge will be Survival. For the 30th anniversary expansion, we have the loot rotation for Dares of Eternity, which will be on week 1's rotation, with the Scatterhorn armor set and the Wild Hunt armor set being available. The weapons available this week will be the Arc Lightweight Frame Bow Arsenic Bite 4B, the Arc Adaptive Frame Heavy Grenade Launcher Blast Batu, the Solar Precision Frame Linear Fusion Rifle Corsair's Wrath, the Void Wave Frame Energy Grenade Launcher Deafening Whisper, the Kinetic Adaptive Frame Hand Cannon Dire Promise, the Kinetic Precision Frame Sidearm Enigma's Draw, the Kinetic Lightweight Frame Submachine Gun Escape Velocity, the Arc Adaptive Frame Pulse Rifle Giant 7 Rifle, the Kinetic Precision Frame Submachine Gun Friction Fire, the Void Precision Frame Scout Rifle Royal Chase, the Kinetic Aggressive Frame Hand Cannon True Prophecy, and the Solar Adaptive Frame Fusion Rifle Timeline's Vertex. For the Witch Queen expansion, the Witch Queen weekly story mission is the Cunning, where the modifier will be Scorched Earth with Barrier and Unstoppable champions. Also this week you will have Altar of Reflection Catalyst and Altar of Reflection Pact. The Wellspring activity has been updated to include a featured Throne World weapon, Veritas Armor, and a weapon pattern as its rewards. For the Lightfall expansion, the weekly mission is Downfall, with extra shields, lock loadouts, extra champions, Barrier and Unstoppable champions, Solar Threat, Scorched Earth, Kinetic Overcharge, Void and Solar Surges with an overcharged weapon, and Galvanized on hero difficulty only. The Partition mission will be Backdoor, Contest Mode enabled with Barrier and Overload champions, Void Threat, Arc and Solar Shields, Shock modifier with Void and Strand Surges. And the Vex incursion this week will be Zephyr Concourse. In addition, the weekly Lightfall reset also refreshes the Pinnacle drop for the Node Override Avalon exotic mission on the EDZ. For the Season of the Deep, the featured fishing pond will be on the Throne World. Raids and Dungeons. The Root of Nightmares raid challenge this week is the first encounter, Cataclysm, called Illuminated Torment. This is where every Tormentor must be killed by a player with the Field of Light buff. The Kingsfall raid challenge this week is the 5th encounter, Oryx, called Hands Off. Players must not kill the same Ogre or Lighty Tonight throughout the encounter. The Vault of Glass challenge this week is the first encounter, Confluxes, called, wait for it, where every yellow bar wyvern must be killed as they sacrifice themselves to the Confluxes. The Deepstone Crypt challenge this week is the fourth encounter, Taniks, called the Core 4. Guardians must dunk all 4 cores before each DPS phase. The Garden of Salvation challenge this week is the second encounter, Spy Defense, called A Link to the Chain. This is where all Guardians must receive the Enlightened buff at the same time. And the Last Wish challenge this week is the fifth encounter, Riven, called Strength of Memory, where Guardians must not shoot the same Riven Eye twice. Your pinnacle raid will be the Vow the Disciple over on the Throne World, which means all challenges will be available for each encounter. These are the first encounter, Acquisition, called Swift Destruction, where Guardians must kill all champions within a few seconds of each other on all rounds. The second encounter, the Caretaker, called Base Information, where runners cannot pick up more than 1 stack of knowledge on each run. The third encounter, the Upender, called Defenses Down. This is where each player cannot kill more than 1 taken knight in total. And the fourth encounter, Rogue, called Looping Catalyst. This is where Guardians must not lose the Leeching Force before the damage phase. Also, with the Vow the Disciple being the featured raid, this does mean that you can farm the final boss for a chance at the exotic Pulse Rifle, Collective Obligation. And the pinnacle dungeon will be the Prophecy over in the Legends tab. Next up, Challenges. Into the Depths 5. Complete the Week 5 Into the Depths mission for Challenge XP+. Frontline Salvager 5. Complete 8 bounties from the Sonar Station in the Helm. Additionally, defeat 25 powerful combatants anywhere in the system for Challenge XP+. Heavy Salvager. Defeat 50 combatants with power weapons in salvage activities for Challenge XP+. Prepared for War. Defeat 300 targets with hand cannons or pulse rifles. Defeated Guardians and combatants defeated in salvage or deep dive activities grant additional progress for Challenge XP+. Battle Rhythm. Defeat 150 targets anywhere in the system using auto rifles, hand cannons, scout rifles, glaives or linear fusion rifles. Bonus progress is granted for defeating Guardians for Challenge XP+ and Bright Dust. Gotta win them all. Complete activities in Vanguard, Gambit or Crucible playlists. Bonus progress is granted for completing Vanguard playlist activities at hero difficulty or higher, or for winning Gambit or Crucible matches for Challenge XP+ and Bright Dust. Iron Sharpens Iron. Complete Iron Banner matches, and bonus progress for wins for Challenge XP+ and Bright Dust. And Flood Tide. Acquire the Last Right Scout Rifle for Challenge XP++ and Bright Dust. Hello! As a reminder, your daily lost sector will show you a flag outside which will give you details of threats, shields, champions and exotic armour you will find inside. But if you're new to the game or you're using an alternate character and can't find the flag outside, you will have to run through the lost sector normally to have it show up on your map as a Legend/Master, which you can either do solo or with a fire team, but you will only be able to earn a chance at the exotic drop when completing solo. Tuesday, June 20th will be the Aphelions Rest on the Dreaming City for exotic chests, Solar Threat, Arkenstrand Surges, Void Shields, Epitaph Modifier, Overcharged Shotguns with Overload and Unstoppable Champions. Wednesday, June 21st will be the Chamber of Starlight on the Dreaming City for exotic helmets, Solar Threat, Arkenstrand Surges, Solar and Void Shields, Epitaph Modifier, Overcharged Swords with Overload and Unstoppable Champions. Thursday, June 22nd will be the Bay of Drowned Wishes on the Dreaming City for exotic boots, Arc Threat, Void and Arc Surges, Void Shields, Stalker Shield Modifier, Overcharged Snipers with Overload and Unstoppable Champions. Friday, June 23rd will be the Veil's Labyrinth on the Cosmodrome for exotic gauntlets, Arc Threat, Void and Arc Surges, Arc and Solar Shields, Fire Pit Modifier with Barrier and Unstoppable Champions. Saturday, June 24th will be the Exodus Garden 2A on the Cosmodrome for exotic chests, Void Threat, Arc and Void Surges, Void Shields, Scorched Earth Modifier with Barrier and Overload Champions. Sunday, June 25th will be the K1 Revelations on the Moon for exotic helmets, Void Threat, Arkenstrand Surges, Arc Shields, Fire Pit Modifier, Overcharged Machine Guns with Barrier and Unstoppable Champions. And finally, back round to Monday, June 26th will be the K1 Crew Quarters on the Moon for exotic boots, Arc Threat, Arkenstrand Surges, Solar Shields, Hot Knife Modifier, Overcharged Glaives with Barrier and Overload Champions.
Lead the way.
Our fifth featured Nightfall of the season will see us face off against Saber 2 in the Fallen Saber Nightfall over on the Cosmodrome, where you have a chance to get a pinnacle engram if you complete the Nightfall with a score of 200k or more. This Nightfall is free to play. You'll be able to earn high-end gear for your characters, including the Nightfall featured weapon, exotic gear, enhancement cores, enhancement prisms, ascendant shards and adept Nightfall ciphers. The higher the Nightfall difficulty, the more common the drop will be, with the featured weapon and exotic gear being uncommon at hero difficulty to being common with Ascendant Shards in Grandmasters. Legend and lower Nightfalls will have 3 Barrier and 7 Overload champions, with 7 Void and 4 Arc shields. Masters will have 6 Barrier and 12 Overload champions, with 3 Void and 2 Arc shields. Your Nightfall modifiers are hero difficulty, maximum effective level 1765, matchmaking is available, enemies have extra shields. Champions foe, you'll face Barrier and Overload champions. You can either use intrinsic exotics, use a subclass debuff, or unlock anti-champion mods from the seasonal artifact. Arc threat, 25% increase to incoming arc damage. Arachno, when defeated Fall of Vandal spawn web mines at their feet. Overcharged weapons, weapons overcharged from the seasonal artifact are active in this activity. Kinetic weapons do increase damage when your subclass element matches an active surge. Arc Surge, 25% bonus to outgoing arc damage. An Elemental Surge, 25% bonus to an outgoing element's damage. Overcharged Weapon, 25% bonus damage to a specific weapon type. Galvanized, combatants have more health and are more difficult to stun. Legend difficulty, maximum effective level 1815, includes all previous modifiers except Galvanized. No matchmaking. Equipment locked, you will be unable to change your equipment once the mission starts. Master difficulty, maximum effective level 1820, includes all previous modifiers except Galvanized. Champions Mob, this difficulty adds more champion enemies. Grandmaster difficulty, maximum effective level 1815, includes all previous modifiers except Galvanized. Joining progress disabled. Extinguish, if your fire team falls in a restricted zone, your team is returned to orbit. Limited revives, gain additional revives by defeating champions, up to a maximum of 20. And Contest Mode, which caps your power level to make enemies more of a challenge. To combat champions this season, you have access to subclass counters as well as a choice of intrinsic anti-champion artifact mods, which are Anti-Barrier Auto Rifle, Overload Scout Rifle, and Overload Trace Rifle. You also have exotic weapons and armor that can help with intrinsic mods as well. For Anti-Barrier, the Kinetic Bow Wishender, the Kinetic Linear Fusion Rifle Arbalest, the Kinetic Pulse Rifle Revision 0, the Solar Energy Hand Cannon Ariana's Vow, the Solar Heavy Sword the Lament, and the Titan Gauntlet Second Chance, which gain the second charge of your shield throw melee, which becomes shield piercing and stuns barrier champions. And for Overload, the Void Energy Bow Le Monarch, the Arc Energy Linear Trace Rifle Divinity, the Arc Heavy Machine Gun Thunderlord, and the Warlock Exotic Boots the Secant Filaments, which when you drop an Empowering Rift, any weapon that is fired from inside the well can cause an Overload champion to be stunned. The Nightfall featured weapon to obtain this week will be the Arc High Impact Frame Fusion Rifle Loaded Question. The Loaded Question has a base impact of 90, a range of 52 and stability of 25. It can roll with Controlled Burst, Reservoir Burst and Harmony, with Envious Assassin, Under Pressure and Auto-Loading Holster. It has the origin trait of Stunning Recovery, where if you stun a champion you partially refill the magazine, trigger health regen and improves your recovery for a short duration. And Vanguard Vindication, where final blows with the weapon grant a small amount of health. Lord Shaxx brings Mayhem to the Crucible for the 5th week of the season. Mayhem is where 2 teams of 6 players go head to head in a clash type mode. Abilities and supers charge at an extremely faster rate than usual. Respawns are instant and power ammo spawns are also much faster than usual. With a time limit of 10 minutes, the first team to get 125 eliminations is the winner. And Rift will be returning this week in the Relentless Crucible playlist. Rift is a 6v6 game mode that focuses heavily on objective-based gameplay and not just killing the enemy team. Instead of accruing points based on defeating enemies, players can score points by picking up the spark and dunking into their opponent's rift, which is near the enemy spawn. A team can either win by scoring 5 points before the opposing team can, by scoring 3 points without the enemy team getting a look in, or having more points when the time runs out. The spark spawns in the centre of the map and starts to charge after 6 seconds of the round starting, and becomes visible for all players on the map. After another 12 to 13 seconds, the spark is available for players to pick up, giving both teams approximately 20 seconds to fight over the spark before either side can pick it up. For 5 seconds after a player picks up the spark, they become marked on both teams' maps. After that, they are only marked on their own team's map unless they are in view of the enemy team. The carrier can only hold onto the spark for 1 minute and 15 seconds. After that, the spark detonates, killing the carrier and those around them before resetting. Should the carrier die in any way that isn't from the spark detonating, the spark drops at that location. If a player picks up the spark whilst in their super, they are immediately pulled out of their super. Furthermore, they will not gain any more super energy whilst holding the spark and will be unable to use their super even if it is fully charged. If a player dies, they must wait 10 seconds before they respawn, but their teammates can revive them during this time. This forces players to focus on teamwork to help push up on their enemies, but can also leave some players out of the game for an extended duration if their team can't or won't revive them.
Delightful!
And Valus Forge returns to the tower for the second time this season, bringing with him the Iron Banner. This is a week-long free-to-play Crucible event, which means there will be no Trials of Osiris at the weekend. Power level is disabled, which means you can go into Iron Banner with whatever weapons and armour you'd like. Iron Banner also brings with it challenges and a seal to become an Iron Lord. Each day for 4 days for each character from Tuesday Reset, Lord Saladin will give you the opportunity to receive a pinnacle reward. By hovering over the Iron Banner node on the director, it will tell you how many games you need to play and with what subclass you need to equip to complete it. You can either play each day and collect each pinnacle, or you can wait until Friday Reset to play all the games you need and receive all 4 in one go. From 3 for your first pinnacle up to 18 games in total for all 4 pinnacles. As a reminder, pinnacle rewards will give you +5 to your power if you are below the power cap of 1800. But if you are 1800 and trying to reach the pinnacle cap of 1810, then the pinnacles will give you +2 in light. Players can rank up with Lord Saladin to receive rewards from his reward track, and equipping any Iron Banner armour, ornament or weapon plus Iron Banner emblem will progress your progress faster in ranking up. This is multiplied if you complete the daily pinnacle challenge as well. For the Iron Banner gear boost requirements, all 5 pieces must be equipped as gear or ornaments for it to take effect. For our second week of Iron Banner, we will see the return of Iron Banner Eruption. Eruption is clash with energy boost based on kill streaks, like a mini version of Mayhem. During Eruption, killing your opponents will score 1 point and a normal amount of ability energy. After that, when you get your second elimination in a row without dying, and assist count 2, you become Surging. You start lightly glowing, kills start generating 10% super energy and 20% grenade, melee and class energy. You score 2 points per kill. When you get your 5th kill without dying, you then become primed. You become glowing brightly, and your team goes on the hunt. Everyone on the team gains 5% super and 10% grenade, melee and class energy. For every subsequent kill after that, you gain 12% super and 40 grenade, melee and class energy, and you score 3 points per kill. At 5 kills, you also receive a 15-second timer on you. If the timer reaches 0, you erupt. Erupting kills you, which resets the streak and ends the hunt. But getting a kill resets the eruption timer back to 15 seconds. You are then marked for both teams so everyone can see right where you are. The other team gets 3 points for killing you, and more than one player can be primed at a time. With Iron Banner's return, this also means you have another chance to become an Iron Lord by completing 7 triumphs. These are Jolder's Victory. Win matches in the Iron Banner playlist across all events and seasons. Gnora's Seal. Acquire Iron Banner armour. Each armour piece must be unique to count towards the total. Ormond's Taste. Acquire Iron Banner weapons. Each weapon must be unique to count towards the total. All-Wing Spirit. Earn points by completing objectives in Iron Banner playlist modes. Frostmire's Will. Complete Iron Banner challenges. Grimmel's Dedication. Reset Iron Banner rank twice. Durham's Howl. Complete Iron Banner matches whilst wearing at least one piece of Iron Banner armour. Earn additional progress for each piece of Iron Banner armour equipped. And to gild the title this season, you have 5 triumphs to complete, which are Glorious Howl. Win Iron Banner matches, earn additional progress for each piece of Iron Banner gear equipped. Again with Feeling. Reset Iron Banner rank. On Point. Earn points by completing objectives in the Iron Banner playlist modes whilst using Strand, Solar or Void subclass. One and Done. Complete all 4 Iron Banner challenges in a single Iron Banner celebration. And Down Dear Friend. Defeat 200 Guardians in Iron Banner. Earn bonus progress for using Iron Banner weapons from the current season.
That is amazing.
Also this week we should see the return of bonus XP in the Vanguard playlist. So if you want to fast track and get in the new ritual weapon, the Last Right Scout Rifle, and Vanguard ornament, the Warrior Rubric, then this will be a good start. And that's it for the 5th week of Season of the Deep.
Guardian down.
But there's Iron Banner, and then there's a bunch of fashion that I didn't enter the fashion contest because I never remember about it, but lots of other people did. So if you, and since looking at pictures is such good audio content, I could have Respawn describe for you in depth all of these, or just go look at the
go look at them. Yeah. Some of them I'm not impressed with. I don't even know how they made it, honestly. Some people have really weird, like I never understood art like some guy painting a soup can with 16 different colors, 16 different ways, and then you have like some of these like Titans that look like a multicolored Beetleborg where he just melted a bunch of Crayola in a pan and doused himself in it. You know, just I don't get fashion. This is weird to me.
Yeah, well, this is one of those, like, I think you and Nitedemon talked about the mask last week. If you want to do, your Jim Carrey the mask, that's one of the ones in here. You can go see how they did it. Yeah, there's a number of ones. If you want to go rock a Yoda look, you can go do that. So yeah,
many different Spider-Mans, many different Venoms, Carnage, Iron Man.
You could be every single Spider-Man. I believe in you. You could be all of them. And
you actually can. I've seen every Spider-Man in there so far, including Miles Morales, including Gwen Stacy, all of them. Somebody's made every Spider-Man. And Venom and Carnage and what's the other one's name? Venom and Carnage's kid.
Tim the Enchanter. No idea.
I forgot his name. Toxin. Aha, Toxin. Yeah, you can be Toxin.
Yeah, and then after the fashion show, we have the Destiny PlayStation crossover artwork, where it's trying to sell me on the fact that the Titan helmet is not just an empty slate, that the Warlock still looks like an incredible samurai ghost, and the Hunter is still blind and has a headband over his eyes because seeing is not
the game the Hunter's modeled out is a really good game. Up until the last one, I haven't played the last one, but it's a really good game, and I like it. Horizon Zero Dawn. That's what that's from, and you're the lead character, Aloy. So, yeah, I think it was well done. I think it looks good. I bought it. I'm using it currently.
There you go. So lots of good artworort. We already told you about what they fixed theoretically this past week, but now we have 20,000 Screams Under the Sea in it. And here's what else is broken or fixed. The Trials of Osiris emblem, beginning with June 16th, so this weekend that we're currently in. That dazzling iridescence emblem is no longer going to drop from the Flawless chest for players who did not successfully earn the Flight of the Pigeon medal for every match. So that's the one they were handing out to everybody who went Flawless last week, but you actually had to go Flawless and earn this medal, which I think is basically winning every single game or every single round or something.
No. It's close though. What you have to do, and it's hard enough on its own, don't get me wrong, but what you have to do is you can never be behind your opponents, right?
Oh, that's even harder.
You can never be behind them. Yeah. So you can win 2 and then lose 1 and then win the last 3 and you'll be fine. But if at any point in time you win 1 and they win 2, you've lost it. You're done.
Okay.
Yep. You can never trail your opponents.
You have to thoroughly stomp the other team. The Trials emblem, unique emblem that they were handing out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That everybody who got it can no longer equip it until you actually properly earn it. But you can do it this weekend or not, because none of us are going to.
Yeah. So that's not just get good. That's BZK mushroom. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Let's get the best. And what's not the best is known issues. So the first known issue is Respawn's RTC connections to Discord. That's a known issue that's being passed along to the team to work on. Also, the Strand Slayer Crucible bounty is not progressing from Strand primary weapon kills. Silly for you to think that Strand would work in the Crucible for Strand things.
Right.
Players can die from finishers if the enemy dies before the animation completes.
That killed me so many freaking times in the dungeon. So stupid, man. Like, you both go in for the finisher at the same time, and if he dies before you finish him, and your animation is still going, when you crush the ghost, you die. You straight up die. That is ridiculous.
So friendly fire for finishers has been enabled by Bungie.
No, not even friendly fire, dude. Like if you perform a finisher on them and they die before your animation is done, you also die. Yeah.
That makes no sense. I've never even seen that glitch.
Friendly finishers.
I've been a victim to
personally. So here's another one. Here's another one that I know Respawn is desperately upset about. The Efficient Angler seasonal challenge is progressing inconsistently.
I don't know.
I know you're just outraged at the number of fish you're catching is just not being counted. I know this hurts you deeply to your core. The Crucible competitive.
I have not even approached a pool of water since this whole thing.
No, you're not sitting here with like thousands of fish caught. No, too bad.
Trying to chase legendary fish. Get the hell out of here.
Legendary? You want the exotics, my dude?
I'm just saying, I eat any of them. I don't care, dude. Like,
I get those Lorelei fish.
You can take the oversized Nemo and your exotic fish and stuff them somewhere.
No, you can't say Nemo. That's trademark. Sure.
Harder than most fish.
Can't say it.
I'm joking with you. You can say it.
Oh, he can't even say it. Like, dang! I thought I just couldn't sell merch with it.
2023 copyright has extended to human speech. The thought police are listening in to all of our calls and speech. The Crucible competitive placement series does not drop the material over each sniper rifle. It doesn't. You can't get the sniper rifle from the Crucible competitive placement series. Your dexterity mods are not getting a benefit for a weapon ready and stow speed. They're not granting your dexterity mods. Aren't giving you dexterity. Well, why would you want that? Players can get stuck outside of the final boss area after self-reviving and then goes to the deep dungeon.
Yep, that's another thing in the dungeon. Yep. But that's actually not a bad thing, though.
Don't we just call them the respawn point?
Huh?
Don't we just call them the respawn point?
No. What happens is sometimes, not every time, but sometimes when you die in the dungeon at the final boss, it'll spawn you outside of the arena. Right? And
like on the ground or like out of the map entirely?
No, you're in the map. You're just in the previous area that you had to go through to get to the boss arena, right? Mm-hmm. But the cool thing about it is you can stay out there indefinitely, and it won't activate the joining allies, right? Which means, especially if you're on hard mode, you can stay out there forever, and the two guys in there can just keep dying all they want to, and you'll never wipe because the one guy is safe, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of a cool bug. But
we call him respawn
you definitely
point.
Spawn outside of the boss arena in the dungeon.
Yep. Respawn point. As long as that guy's in the game, you're good to go. You've got this. What you don't got is the Bump of the Night weapon pattern triumph requires a Season 17 Season Pass.
Love it.
Which, as we're not there, it's going to be a little difficult. And the Warlock Courtier long coat chest ornament has a gap beneath the right arm. So just don't look there. They'll get that patched up in no time. And then there's movies of the week and art of the week. If you haven't gotten your fill of all of the artwork and movies that have been in the TWID, still hate it thus far. And before heading into the fray once more to help Sloan crush some opponents in the PvP arena, here's your usual hippie reminders to remember that self-care, drink water, and lead with your kindest foot forward. So yeah, that's it. And then there's a doggy and a kitty cat because it wouldn't be complete without, fluffy friends in the TWID, TWAB, whatever.
Yep.
Because we did it. We had some. We did indeed live up to our name with 2 Titans and a single hunter. We did it. We made it. It was a struggle, but we got there.
Dude, you have no idea.
And as Twitter has decided to self-destruct itself, Reddit decided to get in on the fray this week too. So there is no respawn report roundup because APIs are a thing that everyone's angry about. So things happen to the game, and mostly what's happening in the game is people are playing different games. So that's what happened. Have you watched any YouTube this week? I watched a little bit that we sort of talked about earlier.
I've watched some of the changes and whatnot. I watched Across Soul of the Dungeon. Dude, watching him, I think we're soulmates. The way he gets angry at just like the most random things. I think we should be best friends. Across, hit me up, dude. We can be best friends.
You should. I think you should absolutely be best friends. I mean, I think we should all pick a streamer to befriend. I mean, Nitedemon has already chosen his streamer. Pan is best friends with Ebontis. I think we should all choose a streamer.
You can't pick yourself as your best friend.
Oh well, I believe in you. You might be able to.
Well, no, you can't pick Houndish because he is Houndish.
Yeah, that's true. Oh well. Well, you and Astrocross are soulmates. That is true. So we talked about this, and all these links, as always, will be in the show notes. We talked about this earlier. 9-year Destiny player hates Destiny from Mactix, because that's where we are in the season. Him watching a video of someone basically saying, I spent 9 years on this game, and now it's too late to quit. Sort of going over some of his ridiculous reasons for, complaining about the game. And yet here we are, and half the comments are like, this game is terrible, this game is trash. 5,000 hours invested. Back into it this because,
Don't remind me.
And what's funny is
to
use that as an excuse to be like, well, yeah, I have 5,000 hours, so I know what I'm talking about. But then why do you keep coming back? If
Because
it's so bad and you know what you're talking about and it's the worst thing ever, why do you keep coming back? You know,
it's actually kind of funny. I had my Steam. I just shut down the game I was playing, and I had Steam up, and it was on Division. And my wife looked, and she could see my brother's name, and she could see your name, and then she saw the hours played on Division, and she was like, "What?
Never.
No! Hold on. That's not the funny part." She saw the hours played, and she was like, "What? 37 hours playing this game?" I was like, "How did you spend that much time playing the game?" And then she didn't notice that you could see my name and my hours played. And so I took my mouse wheel and just scrolled it down so that way it went all the way to the top so she couldn't see my hours. I'm like, yeah, 37
no,
hours.
you got 37
That's a
hours
lot of
played
hours.
a day.
Nothing
No,
to see
I-
here.
I
Nothing.
didn't want to go to my Destiny hours. So I'm like,
Well, your Destiny hours are not right anymore anyway, man. Like, ever since they did that rollback.
Xbox. No, I
Yeah.
transferred to Xbox. I was playing Xbox for like 4 or 5 years, dude. I just came to PC like 2 years ago.
Oh,
And
no,
so
but what
my
I'm
PC hours
saying
are
though
off.
is like you can go to time wasted in Destiny or whatever, and it used to track how long you played Destiny for and on what character. But ever since they did that reset, like it's trying to tell me that I've only got 2,000 hours on my hunter, when before I had over like 4,000 or 5,000. You know, so you can't even look to see what your actual hours are anymore because ever since the rollback, all that information has been all jacked up and wonky.
And why would anyone want to be depressed and see that? Like
No
literally
one-
the time I've spent in the Matrix. It's depressing.
No one needs to know. This is information that's not important.
No. And I'm mad
No.
at Steam for even putting that there so you know. Like, why do I want to know that?
Your wife can get you in trouble.
Like, who says, you know what? I want to know how much of my life I've wasted playing this game.
It's no one should go to wastedondestiny.com and put in their name and see all the places. No one should need to know that Respawn's been here for 3,381 hours. It's not important. No one should know that Nightedemon's been here for 2,600 hours and I've been here for 2,700. No one needs to know this. This is not information.
Don't look at my hours, please. I don't.
You also shouldn't go to the secret scrubland, which I think we have the link in the show notes. That'll break it down by day and season
and activity.
And activity. Yeah. So you can be like, oh yeah, that was a time that I no-lifed this for weeks and weeks. Yeah, no, you should not do that.
Why is all this red? Oh, Iron Banner. That's right. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. You should. You definitely should not do any of those things or go to any of those places. As we've talked about a couple of times, the moaning of True Vanguard, which I'm just going to put under the moaning of True Vanguard. It's time to nerf Titans. The data is undeniable. Destiny 2, and his other moan about bad news for Destiny 2.
What class is True Vanguard main?
Of the game.
Is he a hunter main?
He mains Warlock, but talks about. But I love Titan. I love playing Titan too.
Does he?
But data is undeniable. Why? Because Trials says that it is.
My logic is undeniable.
Stone Cold says so. And Fallout Plays put out a video of just what the hell's happening to Destiny 2, which kind of sums up everything we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks of just things aren't technically in a great spot. Again, the maintenance, the errors, the rollbacks, all that stuff. If you're looking for something a little bit more upbeat, again, this is not a whole lot this week. Castle Content found the perfect resilience for each character.
Didn't he?
He found that. Well, he's found the perfect one. The absolute. Oh, I guess this is 2 months ago. So yeah, this may have been. I may have missed the boat on this one.
Perfect resilience is what, 140?
No,
yeah, 395. Yeah, I'm just realizing this is from 2 months ago. So Night Demon's going to yell at me and go, "We've already covered this." Well, I'm covering it again, Night Demon. So when you're not here, that's how this works.
Yeah, you should have been here, Demon.
Yeah, when you're away, you have to deal with me looking at YouTube and not being able to tell what's new and what's just being served to me by the Owl's algorithm.
Right.
One thing that was new this week is Dado did Destiny for a decade. Just sort of talking about how he has absolutely no-lifed this game for 10 years and made content for it. And how it's probably time for a little break here soon. Because, a decade's a long time.
I mean, he's been making money on it for a decade, though. So, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying it's all bad, but I'm just saying, he's like sort of his reflections on, how far Destiny has taken him and where this all went. And one channel that I saw this week, this is more of a channel recommendation than like an actual like individual video, is Destiny the series. So Destiny : the series. Again, links are in the show notes for all of these.
Oh, that threw me off, man. Like I thought it was like a red versus blue kind of thing. It's not.
I thought it was. I thought I missed an announcement of, hey, we're putting the TV show together. I thought this was like a Destiny, a Bungie production. Like I thought I had missed a reveal for like the TV show or a movie or something. No. So I'm partially wondering how long this is going to stay up, because again, I mean, it doesn't say this is an official Bungie thing, but it uses the logo and it uses the Destiny icon. I'm going, how long are you going to stay up here, bud? So this is a guy who has basically said, at some point, Destiny 1's going to go away. At some point, they're going to pull the plug on this game from 2014 and say, we're going to turn the servers off. So he is playing through all of it. Mission by mission, expansion by expansion.
Wait, but he can't because stuff is vaulted.
Destiny 1.
D1, Micah.
Okay, so he's not going D1 to D2.
Yeah. Presumably not. This is basically saying, it's Destiny dash the series, all one word. Destiny 1 won't be playable forever, so I'm preserving the story and the gameplay. For every mission, every expansion, I hope someone enjoys it. It's a Red Wings guy on PSN apparently has been doing this. So he is, part of the way through this playthrough of every single mission in D1 as sort of a, archival version of it, basically.
An ode to D1.
Yeah. So
homage.
Yeah. So if you're, I'm really curious to say, I mean, it started like a year ago. Okay. So like it's still up now. So I'm kind of like, is Bungie going to pull the plug on this at some point? Like I don't know. It just seems a little too like.
I mean, I don't think they're going to have three IPs running at the same time. D1, D2, and whatever the hell the name of this new one is.
Yeah, Marathon.
No, you're making money.
Are they making money on D1 though?
Oh well, probably.
They made that money on D1. No, I mean I didn't mean so much like pulling the plug on D1, but pulling the plug on this channel because like it looks very official-ish. Like it's just one of those. I'm going this seems it's gameplay video, but like it's a little bit too close maybe to just I don't know just stock. Hey, here's the game itself, but who knows? But yeah, but if you've been trying to talk about something or remember something or go, hey, the speaker exists, and everyone goes, who's the speaker? You can go back
that's
and
right.
Go back and reference some of these things. If you want to hang out with Cade and his stash and the Taken King, you can go back and if for no other reason, go back and enjoy Peter Dinklage as our ghost. Because honestly, it's been so long since I've heard Peter Dinklage as a ghost. It was a nice little refresher of like, oh, that's right. Our ghost used to be Peter Dinklage, and that was wonderful.
Yeah,
so yeah, he's archiving the whole game, mission by mission, at least until he gets taken down or whatever.
Copyright strike. Something.
Yeah. But I really thought I missed like a TV show announcement or something. I was like, no, just a guy putting all this together. So good on you, bud.
I still miss what was it? It was a commercial of some kind or something like that, but. Basically, you had a hunter. He had his ghost out, and he was dancing to the music or whatever. And then you had a warlock up on the hill with a sniper, and he sees the hunter dancing, and he gets curious, and he goes down to investigate what the hell the hunter's doing. And then the Titan comes along, so now you got all three of them. And they have this dance-off where all these other Guardians come up and start dancing and everything like that. I tried looking for it the other day, but I couldn't remember what it was called to find it, But yeah, I mean, little things like that, where it's like live action / CGI, of like legit Guardians just doing Guardian things, Like I could imagine. I mean, I don't even have to imagine. I've seen a bunch of Guardians gather around and dance for no reason,
That's why the tower exists. That's why the last city is there to have dance offs. That's why we do this.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen it, like try to find it. Let me know what the link is if you guys can. But yeah. Just a bunch of live action / CGI Guardians just doing a dance off, and it's actually pretty good too, man. Like even the dance is pretty good. So yeah, things like that are fun, and we should have more of that type of stuff. Bungo.
We should have more dance contests, and we should have more patrons. So you should go to patreon.com/TTAH, and you can enjoy the company of the one, the only Zep Orbit, who cannot be threatened with a good time. You could have a dance off with our Otter Dance troupe, the T-Rex King, Dedicated Wham 64, the Scarlet Cam, or BHS Nightcrawler. They are an amazing dance troupe. They are so well coordinated, you've seen nothing like it. And they dance so well because we have so many excellent grenade throwers. Carver 2782, Wee Noble, Golden God 1562, basically NACL, basically Salt, Zombie Pops, Bernard Calant, and Mel O'Malley are excellent grenade brigade. And Deacon, always, we seek her approval, and she is granted it to PP Pipe, Dimwee, the Drifters Driftwood, Hate Quest, Space Coin, Dam House, and Operator Konjin. I'm sure I'm mangling it, but we appreciate you, each and every one of you. Thank you.
Send us a 9-paragraph email on how to pronounce it like Dim we did a long time ago.
Tell us that we're wrong. We enjoy the feedback when we're right, when we're wrong, or when we're just here. So this is, I think, where I say thank you for joining us. Your Titans have been Peroty, and the one, the only, Micah himself. Nitedemon is on something this week, and will return to us probably sometime after Iron Banner. Your hunter is no one responds in real life, who has come back to us through the magic of the internets from Europe. So Europe, well represented,
thanks to Great Britain,
is not represented all that well.
Yep, it is England. Yep.
Our lore scribe is off fighting fires. Maybe one day he'll fight a fire with us. Maybe not. You just have to keep tuning in to find out. Mm-hmm. If you have opinions, thoughts, or really, I mean, I think at this point, someone should email twotitansandahunter@hotmail.com and say, listen, your lore guy blows. We should find a new lore guy. I could be that lore guy, which is how all this started to begin with. You could be that person. I believe in you. Yep. You can email us and let us know you want to ascend the mantle of lore man, or maybe this will kick our lore man into action. Who knows? It'll be our third one. We go through them very quickly here. You can find our show on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Everywhere is Two Titans and a Hunter. Just slap that into a search box. You'll find us. You find this show wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on YouTube for each new episode, weekly update, and live streams. All the live streams. Like Nitedemon lying to you about being a Gambit main and then immediately abandoning Gambit because, well, he has good sense, unlike me. twotitansandahunter.com, where you find the show, where you find all the things. I've guilded my Gambit Dredgen title for the 9th time because I have a problem and I need a support group. If you'd like to join that support group, patreon.com/TTAH. And if you're looking for, more casual encounter for support, coffee, ko-fi.com/twotitansandahunter. If you want to toss some dollars, shekels, pounds, euros, something in our direction. If you want to enjoy this show live and all of its ineptitude, I mean, quality and perfect ability to read at twitch.tv/no one responds in real life, unless the Discord gods say no, in which case, then you just have to listen to it in its beautiful recorded form. Mm. If you want to get up early in the morning if you're in the US, or if you live in the Europe lands, twitch.tv/twotitansandahunter, or Nitedemon streams there. Early in the morning for us US folks, in the morning just overall, and early afternoon for the UK. And Respawn streams when he streams. Twitch.tv/no one responds in real life, twitch.tv/twotitansandahunter. Go there, press the button, follow, and you too will be notified when we go live. And we'll be live again next week with whatever happens next for all of your Destiny news, Division news, Diablo news. If it's this weekend something starting with a D, we'll bring it to you.
Right.
And with that,
that is actually they do all start with a D. Yeah.
We love the D.
And on that note, deuces.
This Week in Dragons, featuring No One Responds in Real Life.
Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast.
You're still here, aren't you, Micah? Or did you?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm listening as the insanity continues.
It got very quiet for a moment. I was like, did everyone disconnect?
All by yourself.